BBC Radio Scotland News, I'm Duncan Kirkhope. Good evening. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has indicated he's ready to implement a ceasefire to end the fighting against Hezbollah in Lebanon. In a televised address, he said Israel would respond forcefully to any violation by Hezbollah. It's not clear which other Israeli ministers, if any, have seen or approved the text. Mr Netanyahu, whose words are spoken by a translator, explained one of the reasons why he was in favour of a ceasefire.
To disconnect the two arenas and isolate Hamas. Since the second day of the war, Hamas relied on Hezbollah to fight alongside it. But with Hezbollah out of the picture, Hamas will be left on its own, alone on the battlefield. We will exert greater pressure on it, and that will help the sacred mission of returning our hostages and releasing them.
A group of survivors who gave evidence on the abuse they suffered at private schools have called for the judge leading the inquiry to be dismissed. Lady Smith, who's chairing the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry, has been accused of thinly veiled favouritism towards independent schools. The letter from 28 former pupils urges the First Minister to remove her from her role. A spokesman for the inquiry said it would be incorrect to suggest its work is biased, and another group of campaigners has said removing Lady Smith would be devastating. The trial of a Skye man accused of murder has heard that mental disorders would not have significantly impaired his ability to control his actions. Finlay MacDonald was considered to have had undiagnosed autism spectrum disorder, personality disorder, and was experiencing anxiety at the time he's accused of killing John McKinnon and attempting to murder 3 others. Ailey Davis reports.
Finlay MacDonald is accused of attempting to murder his 34-year-old wife, Rowena MacDonald, and murdering his brother-in-law, John McKinnon, who was 47. He is also alleged to have attempted to murder couple John and Faye Mackenzie. The 41-year-old denies all the charges against him. He's lodged a special defence to the allegation of murdering Mr McKinnon, claiming he was suffering from abnormality of mind. At the High Court in Edinburgh today, forensic psychologist Lorraine Johnson was asked if the disorders, conditions and traits suffered by Finlay MacDonald as a whole would have significantly impaired his ability to control his actions. She replied, "No, I don't think they did." The trial before Judge Lady Drummond continues.
Judges at the Supreme Court in London are considering how women are defined in law in a landmark case brought by Scottish campaigners. The group For Women Scotland is appealing against a previous ruling that trans people with a gender recognition certificate should be considered women under the Equality Act. There's 2 days of legal debate with a ruling at a later date. The Unite Union says Vauxhall's decision to close its van-making factory in Luton is a slap in the face for workers. The decision puts more than 1,000 jobs at risk. The owner of Vauxhall, Stellantis, plans to focus production on electric vehicles at its plant at Ellesmere Port in Cheshire. Hazel Simmons, the Labour leader of Luton Borough Council, says Vauxhall needs to realise it has made a mistake.
I'd ask them to think again. The plant here has worked so hard on their efficiency. They're a very efficient plant, so I think my question to them would be, let's talk about this. We're ready to support in any way we can, and we'll be meeting the plant's management and the trade unions in the very near future.
That's the news. Now the sport. Gully Singh.
Thanks, Duncan. Hibernian host Aberdeen in the Scottish Premiership this evening, with David Gray aiming for a change in fortunes for the Edinburgh club amid their poor league form of 1 win so far this season. There's live commentary on BBC Radio Scotland Extra with Michael Stewart and Willie Miller on co-commentary duties. John Higgins has cruised through to snooker's UK Championship last 16 with a 6-0 thrashing of China's Hergen Chang. World number 1 Judd Trump responded after falling 3-1 behind to storm back and defeat Neil Robertson 6-3. Higgins now plays Trump in the next round at York's Barbican. Kieran Tierney is on the Arsenal bench for tonight's Champions League fixture against Sporting Lisbon. The Scotland defender has been sidelined since June after suffering a hamstring tear against Switzerland at Euro 2024. Swimmer Jim Anderson, rower Catherine Granger and golfer Colin Montgomery have been inducted into the Scottish Sports Hall of Fame. And Manchester City will aim to end a torrid run of 5 losses across all competitions as they face Feyenoord in the Champions League. Well, that's the sport. Let's get some travel.
Thanks very much, Gully. And coming off the A720 Edinburgh City bypass going west, a lane is closed along the slip road at Hermiston Gate. That's because of an accident there and traffic is queuing. Tonight, largely clear and chilly with a few lingering isolated showers around the Isles and northern areas. Areas of mist and fog will develop in the west, central and southern areas. Minimum temperatures -5 to 0 Celsius for most areas of the mainland. And that's BBC Radio Scotland News.
Hibernian versus Aberdeen in the Scottish Premiership. Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Aberdeen are a good side, it's going to be a tough test. It'll be a good game, I'm sure, there always are.
There's 3 points to fight for, and we're going to do everything we can to take these points.
It's about results, it's about points as quickly as we can get them. If you win the game, you get off the bottom of the table.
And it's into the back of the net, and Hibernian have the opening goal. Goal for Aberdeen!
And it's another disaster at the back for Hibernian. Dundee 4, Hibernian 1.
The biggest issue we've had is we're almost beating ourselves. The decisions we've made in games that have cost us games.
The header down and in! And then Aberdeen staring down the barrel of their first league defeat of the season. St Mirren 2, Aberdeen 1.
We take always game by game, and you know you're going to win some games, and sometimes you're going to lose and a draw.
For Hibs, it's been another horror show, really.
I still firmly believe given the time I will turn this around. I also appreciate how long do you give it if you can't keep winning games of football. I'm not going to sit here and shy away from that as well.
If you watch a table, you can think one thing, but I think that's a big mistake. They are a good team, and they have individual players, so we have to be really sharp.
The Dodge supporters in complete dreamland this season.
It's a difficult time for absolutely everybody involved, but nobody wants it to turn more than me, that's for sure.
Hibernian versus Aberdeen. Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Yes, hello, good evening and welcome to Sports Sound. Live commentary of Hibernian versus Aberdeen coming up at 7:45. For Hibs a chance to get off the bottom of the Premiership table. They'll need a win to do that though, and for Aberdeen the opportunity to draw level on points with Celtic at the top. They'll need a win for that. Should be interesting then. Bringing the story of the night from Easter Road, Willie Miller, Michael Stewart, match commentator Paul Mitchell, pitch side reporter Brian McLaughlin and myself, David Curry. A warm welcome one and all, gentlemen. Michael, Willie, Hibs, 1 win, rock bottom. Aberdeen, 1 defeat in the Premiership and comfortably second. Gents, maybe not how we'd thought at the start of the season things would go, but here, Willie, we are.
Well, I thought it would go this way, David.
Did you?
Tongue in cheek. No, I thought that Jimmy Tulane would have taken a little bit longer to settle in. He did come in late during the summer as well, after quite a substantial wait for him to come to the club. But there's no doubt that whatever his tactics are, whatever his training is, whatever his conversation has been with the players and the team in general, you know, looking at it's pretty straightforward, his football. You know, there's nothing fancy about it. He plays the same system generally. In fact, he hasn't changed it any time I've watched him. But it's an attacking style of football. He likes to get the ball forward earlier, likes to hit in the counter. He's not a manager that sets his team up to defend, that's for sure. And it's been really refreshing to watch it. I think the second half down at Celtic Park was a magnificent advert, I think, for the rest of Scottish football and what can be done, you know, against the champions. So that style of football has been bought into by the fans. The fans are, you know, selling out Pittodrie every week. You know, the atmosphere at Pittodrie has been quite incredible, and the results have came along. They've not always been at the top of their game. I don't think I can say that they've found ways of winning games when they haven't performed, you know, at the top of their form. But at the same time, you know, the record is there for everybody to enjoy at Pittodrie in the North East. If you're an Aberdeen fan, then you just can't wait for the next game to come, and I haven't been able to say that for a number of seasons.
A dream start, Michael, for Aberdeen, but for Hibs and Hibernian fans, it's been the stuff pretty much of nightmares, hasn't it?
Oh, it's an absolute, you know, catastrophic opening to the, well, I say opening, it's not even opening now, it's a good chunk of the season, and the big problem for Hibs is that it's on the back of a few seasons of, you know, a downward trajectory, and the concern is obviously, where is the bottom? When is the bounce going to happen? When is the ship going to turn and start moving in the right direction? And I think that's where a lot of the despondency comes from, not just the fact that the season started poorly, but I think a lot of it comes from the fact that they feel like the ship hasn't turned, and there's no real sign of it beginning to turn either. So Yes, it's been a catastrophic start to the campaign on the back of a couple of really poor years, and the supporters need to get a sense of things are changing, and it needs to start happening pretty soon. Otherwise, some sort of change is inevitable, because it becomes a brutal business where people start looking after themselves and they're trying to save their own, skin. This is a massive game here tonight. Really cannot overstate how important this game is for Hibs and equally for Aberdeen, especially off the back of Saturday for the teams. It's a quick turnaround, and 2 disappointing results. Aberdeen looking to change the shift the momentum back into being really positive. It's another away game for them, whereas for Hibs, they're trying to shift the momentum of not just Saturday but the season as a whole.
Let's hear then from the Hibernian manager, David Gray. He is with Brian pitchside.
I can't believe he's not got a jacket on. It's a bit chilly down here, David. You'll be hoping that the atmosphere in here is red hot tonight for Aberdeen anyway.
100%. Listen, I think I've said a lot in the last few days. I think it's good the game comes so quickly. I know I mentioned that yesterday. But we're ready for the game and everyone's looking forward to it now.
You've made 4 changes. First of all, let's talk about the goalkeeping change. Was that always going to happen, do you think, after what happened at the weekend?
No, I don't think you can say it always happens. I think every week I've got big decisions to make in team selection. I think especially when you're not winning games and you've got such a big squad, there's always a thought process that goes into team selection, players chopping at the bit to try and get into the team, and I think the timing was right to give Smudge a chance, and I think he'll use all his experience tonight, so it's something we're going to need.
You think confidence had gone from Joseph with the number of mistakes he's made in the last few weeks?
I think, listen, he's one of a number of players that have made numerous mistakes this season, which is unfortunate, and as I've said a lot, goalkeepers, when they make mistakes, are always punished for it. One thing I've always done is I've always stood by him. I still fully believe in him. He's went for a tough period at the moment, and I'm sure he'll bounce back from it.
And you made changes in the back as well. It looks like a back 3 tonight, or is it a fluid defence?
Yeah, it's a very flexible shape. I think with the players that are on the pitch as well, it's quite flexible. I think that's something I've always said, that within game we can play 2 or 3 different formations. It's a difference of a few yards here or there depending on what the opposition do as well. But no, as I say, I'm looking forward to the game now and the players are ready to go and do it.
You were always a very focused and disciplined player, David, mentally very strong as well. How do you cope with that as a manager with the heat that's on you at the moment?
I think it's about, as I've said previously, it's about sticking to what you believe in. It's about, listen, during tough times and during adversity, I've said this to the players as well, that it isn't going to change by feeling sorry for yourself. It only changes by knuckling down, puffing your chest out and believing in what you're doing and digging yourself out of the hole. And it can be from a number of things, but it can't be from a lack of effort or thinking that it's going to change by someone just giving you. You need to go and earn it yourself, and it's going to take everybody involved tonight to go and do that.
How did you cope on Saturday night going home?
Well, listen, it's like anything. I think it's always bitterly disappointing after defeats, especially the manner in which the defeat happened at the weekend. The frustrations obviously come from how well you start in the game and then what the decisions within the game. But there's no time to waste by feeling sorry for myself. I had obviously that night was really difficult, but my attention quickly turned towards tonight, because as I've just touched on there, things aren't going to change by hoping it's going to change. You need to do everything you can and double down on what you're doing and make sure the players have still got the belief and they still know that I've got the belief in them. That's the key message for me as well. They need to still know that, and need to remind themselves exactly during tough periods. We've all had different tough periods within their careers so far, whether it be dealing with injuries, whether it be dealing with life outside of football, to get to where they've got to be able to play for Hibernian Football Club. They're good footballers and they need to believe they're still good footballers, and I know they do, and it's going to take everybody tonight, but I'm sure when we do turn this around, and I believe we will, it's going to be the start, hopefully that's tonight, that we can really kick on.
No one doubted you as a player, but do you need to convince these Hibernian fans that you are the man to take this club forward?
I'm not sure it's about me convincing them. I think it's about, listen, I think everybody knows what the club means to me and how hard I work about it. One thing I would say is I can say all the right things. I can come up with excuses if I really want to. The reality of the situation is I'm going to be based on results, and where we find ourselves right now isn't good enough. And I know that more than anybody else, and that's the one thing that needs to change quickly. Regardless of who's in charge, what we're delivering at the moment isn't good enough for this club.
It doesn't matter how you win tonight. Just win and get off the bottom of the table, because that is the prize tonight.
Yep, I think when we can look too far ahead. It's been the case now for a number of weeks where full focus is on the next game, and tonight the incentive is if you win the game tonight, we catch the team in front of us, and then once we catch the team in front of us, then we need to focus on the one in front of them. We're not looking too far ahead at the moment. One win tonight puts us off the bottom of the league, and we're then hunting down the team ahead of us.
Thanks, David Burke.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
That was Hibs manager David Gray speaking to our pitchside reporter Brian McLaughlin there. Gents, we'll get straight to it with the team. He's made 4 changes to the team that lost heavily to Dundee at the weekend, and Brian went right in with the headline one. The goalkeepers changed, Michael. Smith comes in to make his first league appearance of the season. According to Matt Eckers, he only played 1 game for Hibs this season. That was in the League Cup against Kelty Hearts.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a big call. David Gray was talking about it there, and he's got a wonderful opportunity. But I'll be perfectly honest, Joseph Bursic has not really shown himself to be a commanding goalkeeper, and it's taken a lot of mistakes for Jordan Smith to come in. So my gut would be that David Gray's obviously got question marks over Jordan Smith, and he sees him as a number 2. He's in the goal now. He's got an opportunity, and he's got to grab that with both hands. The Hibs need some sort of stability, whether it means a goalkeeper coming up with a big performance, whether it means defenders defending properly, or guys at the top end of the park putting the ball in the back of the net. You can make 4 changes, but to be perfectly honest, you can make 11 at Hibs at the moment. But my concern is there's no obvious alternatives, because it's a squad that is, as you look through it, suffering from the same problems. When you look at the bench, there's a lack of intensity and desire and grit and steeliness right through the squad. Yes, there's some ability there, but John Smith, to go back to the point with the goalkeeper, he's got a big game here tonight to go and try and impose himself and take control of that. I know he's number 13, but to take control of the number 1 jersey and goal.
Well, I've had a few spoilers there with the team. I've told you there's been 4 changes to the Hibs team, but Mr. Paul Mitchell, he will regale us now with the full Hibernian starting lineup and also that of Aberdeen. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, David. Smith, Ardere, Miller and Hoylett all come in. Bursic, Cadden of the Crus variety, Obita and Campbell all drop out from the side. Lost the heaviest defeat against Dundee in over 20 years. Jordan Smith is the goalkeeper. It's Miller, O'Hara, Bushiri and Iredale. Newell and Triantis will sit. Cadden, Hoylett and Ewan. And Mikula Kaharovic is the man up front. For Aberdeen, they also make 3 changes. Clarkson, Morris and Sockler drop onto the bench. In come Keskin and Duke, and former Hibs player Kevin Nisbet, who scored in the 6-0 game here a couple of seasons ago. Mitov in goal. It's Devlin, Rubicic, Malloy, McKenzie, Shinnie and Nielsen are the sitters. Duke, Keskinen and McGrath, and Kevin Nisbet, as I mentioned, will be playing up front. Our referee here is Callum Scott.
Thanks very much, Paul. The man who selected that Aberdeen starting lineup, Jimmy Tilleen, is with Brian.
Yeah, we're just speaking about Edinburgh and Aberdeen and Bruges actually coming up later this week. But Jimmy, you've made 3 changes tonight after the defeat of the weekend. Was that always going to happen given this run of games?
No, it's a lot of games now, and we're further into the season also, so we want to keep the players with a good energy, and we know we have more games, but for us it's the focus today. And also, of course, it's tactical, how we think they're going to play and the strengths of our team.
Do you think they may change formation slightly, having had a look at their starting 11?
No, let's see what's happened when the game starts. Like, we are focused on what we have to do be better in our basic parts of the game if compared to the last game. So there we put the focus, then let's see how the game starts, what they are doing.
You managed to find the key to success for Aberdeen this season in winning games of football. How did you do that? And was it just about putting the players together and trying to get the correct mix?
No, as I told before, like we don't think about what happened and what's going to happen in the future. Like we always try to improve things, and we know it's going to be good times and tougher times. But the thing is, what we try to improve our players and our team. So we put a lot of work, I suppose everybody does, but we have tried to create a strong identity and be clear in that and try to improve that part all the time.
How much have you had to improve the mental attitude within the squad and within the players individually?
No, I think that's an everyday thing. You can't just say like now we have done it and now it can change so quick, as you have to work with the players. It's human beings. It's like everybody else in the world. So you have to try to create a good environment where people can grow.
You responded well after the humbling to Celtic in the League Cup. How do you respond tonight after the defeat against St Mirren at the weekend?
For us it's important to be stable in our performance, and we feel like at how we started the last game, the first 20 minutes against St Mirren, we were not happy with how we act as a team. So that was the thing we talk about this week, and that's the key for us, to be stable there, and hopefully it's going to be a good performance, and then hopefully also a good result.
Kevin Nisbet back up front tonight, coming back to a club he knows very well indeed. You'll be looking for Kevin to actually score some of the goals tonight. How much has he improved, and has he, in some ways surprised you as a player this season, because he hasn't been fit for most of this season yet?
No, he's a good player, and you see how he's clever, and I'm happy because keep going, and then you get a setback with injury, and it was out for some weeks. Now when you come back from the national break, and also the last game before the national team break, you saw he was sharper and quicker on the pitch, and hopefully you can see that today also.
And a win tonight would take you back level in points once again with Celtic, wouldn't it?
Sorry?
A win tonight would take you back level on points with Celtic.
No, I don't think about that. I only think about our result today, and don't look at the table.
Thanks, Jimmy. Good luck tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
There we go. That's Brian McLaughlin speaking to Jimmy Tillene about his team. Also, we didn't hear the details, but he's talking about Bruges. I think it's Brian that's going to Bruges, isn't it, later in the week? But interesting stuff in terms of the starting lineup there, Willie. 3 changes from the weekend, all in the kind of top end of the pitch. Morris, Clarkson and Saltclere out. Duke, Nisbet and Keskinen come in.
Yeah, and Brian can try as hard as he can to get information or get Jimmy Tillene to wander away and speak about other teams and what happened last week and what's going to happen next week. But he's not going to get any replies, not going to get any response, because that's the type of manager he is. He's pretty much focused on the now and the game tonight, and trying to get him to talk about anything else is really very difficult. But the results speak for themselves, so he doesn't have to worry about giving the fans information. The fans are getting the information by the performances on the pitch. He's made changes. He's changes to bring energy into the team, and Duke and Keskinen and Nisbet obviously a proven goal scorer as well. I don't think that that you can look at Nisbet and think anything other than if he gets a chance in the box, he's likely to take it.
Or set somebody else up.
Miskick it and set somebody else up. Yeah. And I think when you're on a run like Aberdeen are on, these things happen to you as well. You get a fair bit of good fortune. But Jimmy Tillene and his changes as well, his substitutions have had real impact at times. He's a very shrewd manager, or he's a very lucky manager, one of the two. I think that he's a shrewd manager. He's obviously got a lot of experience. He comes to Aberdeen with that experience, and you can see it. And as I said earlier, his football is quite simple, but it's attractive. It's easy in the eye. It's really easy to get involved with, and although they don't have a main striker like Majowski, that was the one that was scoring the goals last season. They've shifted the goals around, and most of this kind of a bunch of players that weren't performing last season that have been given the opportunity under Jimmy Tillene. Duke, for instance, went AWOL, but he's been taken back into the fold. The manager
100th appearance tonight for the Dons, Willie, for the prodigal son.
Is it? Well, listen, on his game, he's a fearsome opponent. His pace is electric, and defenders really struggle to. And he's strong as well. He's a strong physical specimen too, but lost his way a little bit. I thought last season his mind was on trying to get the move away from the club, and I think he had some bad, advice from whoever was giving him that advice. Certainly, the way he acted during the summer and not coming back till late. But Jimmy Tillene's taken him in, fresh start, clean slate. Shayden Morris is another one that's been really impressive, mostly coming off the bench. I think he's more an impact player. And the manager is just getting performances out of players that weren't performing last season. Beswin as well. There's another one that he's managed to turn around that's had an influence this season. So it's all good news for him. He's done a magnificent job so far. He's had a couple of setbacks this season in terms of results, be interesting to see if they can do the same and turn around the result tonight the way they did after the Celtic defeat.
Nisbet starting up front for Aberdeen. I nearly said Hibs there, but that'll be a dagger into the hearts of Hibs fans tonight. 100 appearances, 101 appearances here, 39 goals, Mikey.
Well, I mean, certainly Hibs could be doing with somebody that knows their way to the back of the goal at the moment. It's pretty bleak on that front. Obviously, I think they are now, I think obviously with Ross County having scored a couple of goals at the weekend, they're now bottom goal scorers in the league with 12 goals, I think it is now that they've scored, yep, which is the lowest in the division. And then you look at the other end of the park where they just ship in poor goals for fun, even though they've not conceded, as many as the bottom teams in the league on that front. They're not the worst defensive record, but the defence, I think it's clear for what we see, and obviously for the manager as well. Hence why the change has been made in goal there as well. So yeah, I mean, Kevin Nisbet would definitely have helped Hibs, but at the moment he's in a Aberdeen jersey, and you've got to say, I'm pretty sure he's not regretting that decision.
David Gray speaking to Brian Will, he said, numerous players have made numerous mistakes. They've paid the price tonight.
Well, you're a manager, you've got to make decisions. That's what you're paid to do. You can't just keep playing the same team, and expect different results. I think you've got to try and mix it up a little bit. But you look at Aberdeen, they don't make an awful lot of changes, and Jimmy Talleen doesn't make an awful lot of changes. Yeah, changes tonight.
He's going on about that stability.
Generally, stability at the back. I mean, the back five has been, I think, just a bit of a present.
And it does as well during during games.
Yeah,
seldom changes that. It's always offensive changes.
Absolutely.
The goalkeeper in the back four. I mean, I'd be pretty confident in saying, I'm not sure of every game, but certainly the vast majority of the games, and possibly all of them. I can't remember.
I think every league game.
I can't remember him making a defensive change, and if it had been, it would have been due to an injury.
Maybe
in the game,
in the cup. Yeah,
I'm talking about
in the game
substitution.
Itself.
I can't remember ever seeing him making a defensive sub.
No.
So that has been real stability there.
Well, he said
Rubišić has been far better. Malloy's been a good sign-in.
Malloy's been a brilliant sign-in.
And Nicky Devlin has just grown in stature at the club, and Mitov has just filled the gap from Kellerus perfectly. I mean, he's done brilliantly. I mean, like a sensible signing. I think everybody recognised that with Mitov.
Probably an improvement. In Kellerus. Kellerus, good goalkeeper, but I think last season again, maybe his mind was on moving away, and his form dipped too. So that's an improvement. But Gavin Malloy, for me, a young 22, I think he is, brought to the club, as a project, I believe. And he's got his opportunity, and he's in there, and he's in there in merit. Very good left foot. Not the biggest, but certainly can handle himself in the air, and reasonably quick and a good, intelligent defender. Not too many of them going about at this moment in time. So that back five really is your foundation of the success, and anything in front of that, the impact players, the substitutes that Jimmy Talleen makes, they either score when they come on, they give energy, they create, and it's the players that weren't performing last season as well that he's been able to convince that there's still a future here at Aberdeen, and they've made an impact. So it's just been a sensational season for Aberdeen. You can't say anything other than that. Okay, the result against St Mirren was probably a poor performance as well, but in terms of the overall results and where they're sitting in the league and where they could go and rub shoulders again with Celtic at the top of the table again tonight, then I don't think you can ask for anything more than that from a new manager coming into the club.
And you've already seen, Willie, evidence of them bouncing back from defeat in the League Cup when they lost 6-0. Lost 6 to Celtic, and then got a handsome win over Dundee shortly afterwards.
Yeah, because you're then looking at it and you're wondering how they're going to react to that defeat, because it was a bit of a humiliation, wasn't it? They lost their shape, they lost their discipline. Listen, Celtic can do that to the opposition when they're really on their game, and they were on form that afternoon, and they certainly deserved it. But Aberdeen, I think that defence fell apart, basically. The two midfield players started running all over the pitch, away in wide areas, leaving huge gaps. So, the discipline just went from the team. But they did bounce back, and, I'm sure Jimmy Tillane will be hoping that would be the case tonight. Because as a manager that talks about it now, he don't think he'll obviously went over the game at the weekend, but he'll be very much focused on what they're going to do tonight.
I was just going to say, I think I saw, and I'm not 100% sure whether it was totally accurate or not, but I'm pretty positive I saw a stat for the game at Paisley at the weekend where Aberdeen had 70-odd% of the possession, which, obviously for a lot of games for Aberdeen, it's recognised that they're not a side that look to dominate possession, but they counter and attack so quick away from home as well. To have that amount of ball, it probably, perhaps, and I've not seen all of the game obviously for the weekend, it probably didn't suit the way that Aberdeen are looking to play. And you see the goal, you see the first goal in particular, Olasanya over the top, just a punt up the park. That's not something that is, it's a terrible goal to lose, but there are very few and far between of those incidents that have happened with Aberdeen this season.
Yeah, they are definitely a team that enjoys the opposition coming at them. I'm not saying that in a negative way, because it's not a case that a Jimmy Tillane team is set up to be defensive, but when they haven't got the ball, they know what to do. They know how to make it difficult for the opposition, and when they do have the ball, the pace that they go forward. You watch the two fullbacks. That's a prime example of how Jimmy Tillane sets up his team. Whenever they're in transition, the two fullbacks are bombing left and right. To get into the box, to either create or to have an opportunity of scoring themselves. So they do. They enjoy it when the opposition come at them. But you've still got to learn. You've still got to learn how to deal with a team that is not going to have as much possession as you have. You've still got to be able to cope with that, because there will be teams now, after watching Aberdeen and seeing the results that they've had, that they'll be setting up to make sure that that they play that way, that they then try to maybe hit Aberdeen in the break, because they'll know that the Dons like to have that transition, and they go very quickly forward and they create most of their chances in doing that.
Brian was asking David Gray if it's a back three or a back four. Mike, he didn't get a straight answer. Looking at the personnel there and the opposition, how would you see them lining up to start with? Is it a 4-3-3 they're going with?
Yeah, when Brian said that, I was looking at the team to try and see where he was fitting the other centre half in. Triantis has played midfield. He can play at the back, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't Lewis Miller right back, O'Hara and Bashiri centre half with Iredale at left back. That's how I would look at a back four lining up. Whether Brian had got some inside intel, I'm not sure, but it didn't seem that way when David was responding. He was being very coy. Perhaps we'll see when the sides have been warming up here. I, again, haven't seen anything to suggest that it would be a back three. Look, I can understand, the logic thinking that change has been made. Perhaps he's going to try a different system, but I'm looking at the team there and I would be surprised if it wasn't a back four.
You floated, Mikey, before Brian spoke to David Gray, the ship metaphor, and I was struck when I came in and I was watching Brian, the maestro, doing a Rep Scott live down there, and I glanced up to the west stand where we are and I saw the Hibs motto, which reads, "So with the darkest days behind, our ship of hope will steer, and when in doubt just keep in mind our motto, persevere." And that's what they're doing with David Gray. But I'm just wondering what the consequences of a defeat tonight might be.
Look, it's impossible to tell what the Hibs board are going to do. I don't really know who would be making the call, but one thing's for certain, that and David Gray said it himself, results have got to turn, have got to change. I've said umpteen times, I feel for David Gray in a great extent, because it's very difficult to do a great deal with the side. It's not like you look at the team and you go, well, why on earth is he not playing him, or why is he not playing him, or what he's up to. I just think it's a very poor squad, basically. But there's quality, but it's lacking in any real desire grit, determination, will to win. I don't see a lot of that at all. And that fundamentally, especially where Hibs are at the moment, is a prerequisite for trying to get out of it.
Well, the issue Hibs have had, or one of the issues Hibs have had, Willie, is conceding late goals. They've lost 14 points from winning positions. I think 4 or 5 games they've lost goals right at the death. If they manage to sort that out, they'd be right up in the top. They've near the top end of the table.
Yes, I mean, it's a horrible situation. You've got a young manager there as well that is really struggling down at the bottom of the table. Huge amount of pressure. Must be difficult for him. You know, the mental stress and strain that he must be feeling at this moment in time, particularly being associated with the club so closely as well. But he knows himself, and he was talking about it. It can only go on for so long. It doesn't matter how many times you get the vote of confidence for the board. It doesn't.
Always,
and even a vote of confidence for the board, I don't like it. You're better saying absolutely nothing. I think sometimes the vote of confidence is more for the board than the manager. But if it continues, if they get beat here tonight again, then it's just more pressure heaped on them. If things could go wrong, then this season for David Gray and for Hibs, they've gone wrong. Losing late goals, getting men sent off, turning winning situations into losing situations. And it's been the exact opposite for Aberdeen. But you've got to cope with that, and Hibs have got to cope with it. It won't be easy. Tonight, Jimmy Tilleen talking about making sure that it's an early start from the Dons, because they didn't have a good start against St Mirren, and he'll be taking the atmosphere, the pressure here that's on Hibs, and trying to really pile it on to David Gray and these players out here. No, it will be interesting to see how the players handle it, because they are in a very difficult situation. And when you're in a very difficult situation, you need big personalities, you need big characters. Do Hibs have these characters? Doesn't seem like it, but tonight's an opportunity for them to show that they're fully behind the manager. Give a performance that is, at the very least, as a performance that the fans can recognise that this is an important game. I don't think it has to be a spectacular footballing performance. Yeah, if you can get that, then great. But it has to be a winning performance. It has to be a gutsy performance. It has to be a performance that the body language tells the fans that the group of players that are out there are right behind the manager.
Well, the Hibs maybe look to St Mirren and how they played against Aberdeen at the weekend, with winning the game with 22% possession, if my arithmetic's correct, Michael?
Yeah, but it's a different team. St Mirren are completely different to Hibs in terms of the makeup of the squad, the players that they've got, and they've been in that way for a number of years, obviously with Stephen Robinson now, and they've had success with it. It's difficult to comprehend how Hibs all of a sudden become like that overnight from where they are. That's just not going to happen. Really spot on. I mean, for Hibs, as much as it is very, very difficult to do, they have to try and just focus on that first 10 minutes of the game at Dens Park, where it was good, it was bright, they got their noses in front, and tried to forget about the next 80 where the sending off, the capitulation is the massive concern. But for Hibs, every game that comes along, they have to view it as an opportunity to try and show some sort of desire to go and turn things around. Otherwise, you'd be as well as just giving up the ghost and writing the season off and saying, okay, we're relegated now. They have to come and show something. They've got to show that they're capable. I don't know. I've got serious question marks whether they are. But as players in the changing room, they've got to come out. The first 10 minutes at Dens Park, it was bright, it was good. They have to perform like that and hope like nothing else that they can somehow get a result, whether it's a deflection, whether it comes off somebody's backside, whether it's a sending off for Aberdeen and they can cling on. It doesn't really matter how they do it. They've got to try and get a result, a victory, and with that you can start to get a wee bit of belief. But for Hibs, they need to try and do something that buys them a bit of time, that gets through to January, and they've got a hell of a lot of work to do in January to try to make sure that they are not scraping about at the bottom of the table come the end of the season. Otherwise, if that doesn't happen, they get a few results and they don't do some good work in January, I'm fearful for them.
Yeah, Hibs though did recruit big style in the summer. So did Aberdeen, Willie, but it just looks like Aberdeen recruited smarter.
Well, it seems that way, and you know, results would confirm that, David, to be perfectly honest. You know, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes at Hibs in terms of the recruitment, who is actually doing the recruitment, who's making the final say, etc. But it's also how you deal with the players that you've got at the club as well. You know, okay, Jimmy Tilleen goes out and he brings in some fresh faces, but the players that were at the club, the players that weren't getting the game, the players that didn't look as though they were interested, have all of a sudden been turned round. And I think you've got to put a lot of effort into that. It's called man management. I'm sure that's what it's called.
Well, I was having a wee look. Both managers started their permanent contracts. I always laugh when it says permanent manager. It's almost a contradiction in terms. But they both started in the summer. But Jimmy Tilleen, 10 years older than David Gray, with experience coming up through the ranks. You know, starting in the 6th division in Sweden, working his way up. David Gray's kind of almost, although he's been caretaker manager 3 or 4 times, but he's thrown in at the deep end, and maybe Jimmy Tilleen has got that reservoir of experience to draw on and deal with these situations.
Of course he has. You know, and I think that's why Dave Cormack was so keen to get him to the club. You know, and it wasn't the first attempt to bring him to Aberdeen. You know, they had tried to get him in the past, but it didn't work out. But he'd be more than delighted that he's managed to, you know, tempt him here. And experience does count. And man management is so important as well. You've got to learn as a young manager, as David Gray is a young manager, you know, how to deal with these players. And it is really important that you get 100% or as close to 100% out of every player, whether you've brought them or whether you've inherited them. Jimmy Tilleen inherited these players that we're talking about, and he's managed to turn them round. I mean, he's got them believing that they're quality players. Duke and Morris in particular. I mean, Morris was going nowhere. Deswin too. Sorry, Nico.
But you could go on, right?
You could, but the big thing for me is, it's all well and good, all of those attributes in terms of it, and they do count. But the fundamental difference as well is, even last season when things weren't great for Aberdeen, you looked at the squad and you went, the foundations of a squad, a good squad, are there. Yep. I don't think you can say the same when you look at Hibs.
Well, so Peter Leave improved it.
Yeah,
when Peter came in.
Yeah, exactly.
Aberdeen.
You think about Aberdeen's performance in the semi-final of the Cup against Celtic, it was almost a precursor to what Jimmy Tilleen's doing now. But you can talk about experience, and I do think an experienced manager would perhaps be able to handle things a wee bit better at Hibs, but I'm not sure that the performances, the results would be dramatically better, because the biggest thing you need as a manager is some quality on the park.
And Aberdeen have got a way of playing football, and Jimmy Tilleen has brought an identity and a way of playing football. I don't see him changing. You know, it sounds really, really boring that you bring in a foreign coach and he just plays the same way every week, but when I've watched him, it's been the same formation every week. He doesn't tinker with the formation so far anyway. I don't know if things start going wrong, whether it would be up for changing that formation, but it looks as though he's got that formation. He's got the 4 at the back, he's got the 2 sitting midfield players. At times it might go to 1, but basically it's the 2 sitting midfield players. Then he's got the 3 in front and 1 up top, and it's pace, it's a transition from defending to attacking. So there is an identity there. He's managed to get good mileage out of players that weren't performing in the past. He's brought in players that have done well for him too. And the squad, as Mikey says, the squad last season was a good squad. You go into the beginning of last season and I'm sitting up there saying I think Aberdeen are going to do well, but they didn't. They simply didn't do well. So these players are still there. Why didn't they do well, you know, for the majority of last season? Must be something to do with how they're being treated, or, you know, where the manager is, or the tactics, etc. You've got to, because the manager is a focal point. He is a man that calls a shot, and Jimmy Tilleen is calling all the right shots so far this season.
Well, Paul Mitchell will be calling the shots this evening in terms of calling the game. He's got his wee light on above his clipboard there, so I'm assuming that's a sign that Paul's ready to go just as the teams come out. A very good evening to you again, Paul.
Thank you, David. Good evening to you. Good evening, everybody. Alex Miller was manager of Hibs from December 1986 to September 1996. He was in charge for 453 games. Since then, 19 permanent managers at Hibs. They've shared 1,231 games. And if you work it out, that's an average of 65 games per appointment. So things do change in football. Easter Road in the rain. The crowd is a little bit sparse. And the Hibs Ultras in Block 7. I'm not sure if they're going for irony, but they've hung their banner upside down. So we'll see if that was meant as some form of protest or not. As the two teams join us here at Easter Road. Hibs have made 4 changes. Bursak unsurprisingly dropped onto the bench after just the latest error on Saturday. Chris Cadden, Jordan Obita is suspended, having been sent off in that game, and Campbell dropped onto the bench. Smith, Ardale, Miller and Hoylett are the players in for Hibs this evening. Aberdeen, they make a trio of changes as well from the side that lost at St Mirren. Clarkson, Morris, Sokler all drop onto the bench. Keskinen, Duke and Kevin Nisbet, the former Hibs striker, starts for Aberdeen today. Aberdeen all in red will come from right to left as we watch from the back of the main stand here at Easter Road. Hibs in traditional home colours, the green jersey with the white sleeves, white shorts, the green socks topped off with white. And Warren O'Hara just one air on to Lee Miller. A little word there. Jack Ardale, he'll be in at left back, chatting with the other centre half, Rocky Bushiri. And referee Callum Scott with his 4th Scottish Premiership game of the season gets us underway. Aberdeen play the ball out wide onto McKenzie. On to Duke. Duke leaves the ball back onto Malloy. Some fireworks going on. Let's hope there's fireworks on the field as well. Devlin plays the ball forward. Knocked out of play by Jack Ardale on that left hand side to Keskinen going across there. Aberdeen meet up in goal. It's Devlin, Rubezic, Malloy, McKenzie, Shinnie and Nielsen. And it looks at the moment Keskinen, McGrath, Duke and Nisbet.
Well, I was just looking at the setup from Hibs, and I think Scoop might be right. Looks as if Iredale's just tucked in ever so slightly as a left-sided centre half, and 2 wing backs in Lewis Miller and Nicky Cadden.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on how that goes as the ball gets played forward. Here's a chance for Nisbet up at the edge of the area. Goalkeeper comes out and gathers. Bushiri was having to try and shape him away on that occasion, and the goalkeeper Jordan Smith out to get his first touch.
I thought that was a big chance. It looked as though Kevin Nisbet gave up the ghost a little bit towards the end. I don't know if he felt that the goalkeeper was going to come out and smash him. He didn't look as sharp as early in the game, but you would have thought he would have been onto that much sharper than what he was, because it was pretty clear, and if he could have just shown a little bit more pace, I think he's getting there first.
But see when he put his hand up to say thumbs up to the ball through, I actually thought he was putting his hand up as if to say I've done my hamstring at first. You know, I'm absolutely with you. I thought he was in. I thought all he needs to do is just flick this ball here, because the keeper was off his line as well.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought he pulled up quite quickly as well. Just watching him, see if he's okay as Hibs play the ball up to the halfway line, given away. Nielsen picks up on the left hand side. Nielsen plays it away. It's away from Triantis, comes back to McKenzie. Now on to Duke. Duke gathers, plays it up to the halfway line. Onto Malloy, takes a touch, back on the inside and back on to Duke. Duke under a little bit of pressure here, decides to play the ball back, and it comes in onto Malloy. Malloy, well, his progress backwards was cut off by Eli Johansson. He plays it forward to Horrott, drops it down. Triantis plays it across, picked up by Ardale. He is a left back to trade, but he can play centre half, and well, that's certainly what Hibs have gone with. And Willie, when things aren't quite working for you, they've gone for a change of shape as well as personnel.
Yeah, and I think that tells its own story, isn't it? You know, where you're really searching, David Gray is really searching for a performance and perhaps a shape that suits his team, suits his personnel, because you just can't leave it. You just can't, you know, keep playing the same formation, the same players.
Eli Johan into the area, misses everybody and comes out on the Hibs right hand side. Lee Miller tracks back for it. Miller, current Australian international player, back on to Octavius Triantis in his second spell at Hibs. 0-0 so far. 3 minutes gone. Hibs have the ball wide. Arndale plays it in. Malloy with a good header away. Shinnie breaks away from Joe Newell. And Aberdeen will gather. Keskinen. Nisbet tried to time his run. The challenge comes in. Triantis and Arndale is to go back. Flicks it out wide. Does so.
That was another instance though where Keskinen's bombing forward. I'm looking at Nisbet and I'm thinking to myself, if he just makes a run off the back of the shot, but he was holding his position as if to say, you keep running or pass it to my feet. The Hibs defence were all in Aberdeen's half. If Nisbet turns and starts getting on his bike, he's through.
I really can't say what you were thinking there, Mikey, because exactly what you said, the space was in behind. He never even looked as though he was going to threaten to go in behind. And Keskinen is running. He's looking for, maybe that initial move. If Nisbet makes that initial move, then he plays the pass, and there's no doubt he's in behind Bashiri. But if it's running side on, if it's though he didn't want to make that initial move in behind to actually get the opportunity to be in and goal.
And even if he starts the run as well, what it does is it creates more space for Keskinen. Whether he plays him in or not, it's more space for him to continue driving with the ball.
Aberdeen have it inside their own half. The banner that I mentioned that was hung upside down has now been changed. It's been flipped to the other side. 3 words, that's all it says: sack the boards.
I think it was inside out as well, was it not?
Ball gets played forward to Bashiri. I mean, sack the boards appeared within 5 minutes, and it's still 0-0, perhaps a little harsh.
I'm looking at that sign earlier when you mentioned it, Paul, and I'm going, what is that actually saying? I think it was inside out and upside down.
Message is clear now. As Aberdeen play the ball back inside their own half. On to Mitov. The Aberdeen goalkeeper in the back four, ever present throughout the Scottish Premiership campaign. Mitov now launches it long. McGrath's the man trying to make the run of horror. Drops the ball down. Nisbet goes after it. The flicks a 1-2. Bashiri should get in there to slide. Bashiri got caught there. Now, I think the referee had turned away and didn't see it, but holding his hand up was Kevin Nisbet. He caught Bashiri on the way through. Bashiri is in a fair bit of pain, and the ball is out of play.
I'll be honest, I didn't see anything.
I didn't see it either.
But I mean, Nisbet's put his hand up. He's obviously caught him, but whether there was anything intentional or not, it's impossible to tell you because I didn't see it.
Is that the tactic then? Is Jamie McGrath going to run beyond Kevin Nisbet to be the main striker? Because that's what happened there. It almost came off. It was a little 1-2. It wasn't a particularly great return pass from McGrath for Nisbet, and I think it was purely accidental.
Yeah, he certainly just caught him on the way through. I think he made too much of it. Bashiri is back up. Hibs wouldn't want to lose him at the moment. Ekpiteta is out with a thigh injury at the moment, so it's 0-0. Ball gets thrown in, and there's the opportunity for Malloy to play it onside to Rubezic. Rubezic out wide onto Nicky Devlin inside his own half, right hand side, long angle ball. Bashiri gets under it, strong header up. Joe Newell flicks the header away, but it's diving in there. Is it Keskinen?
No, it's Malloy.
Oh, it's Malloy just diving across.
He's hurt himself. He's landed awkwardly on his arm.
I was just wondering what a central defender was doing up there, throwing himself at that. Didn't really seem to be much chance of winning it. Now he's hurt himself, so it's not been right to be a centre half without getting yourself injured. Although I think that goes down as self-inflicted, Willie, rather than anything.
That was a poor decision. Yeah, I mean, there's no need for him to go in like that. He was out of control. Actually, I'm surprised the referee's not having a word with him. Because there's no way he was getting the ball either, and he's went right over the Hibs player. He's landed on his arm. I think he's twisted that arm. He looks okay, right enough, but when he went down, he seemed to be in a fair bit of pain, but all of his own making.
Aberdeen physios treating him at the moment. The referee, Alan Scott, just trying to see if they can get a little move on with things. Kevin Nisbet's having a little drink of water out the physio's bag. And Hibs will get a free kick.
Aberdeen have looked, and it's understandable, and it's not a bad ploy early on in the game to, turn the opposition very early, stretch the game, get a bit more space in the middle of the park for your players to get on the ball. But as this game unfolds, clearly Jack McKenzie and Nicky Devlin are going to be in acres of space. They're the guys as an out ball look to build. Hibs with the two wing backs, and they're not high up the park. There's those full-backs are going to be on all day long to look to just slide the ball into them and look to build the game for there.
Arndale on the ball. On to Bushiri inside his own half. Back to Jack Arnold making his Scottish Premiership debut for Hibs this evening. And he gets it back. Now plays it forward. A little spill at Bolton before coming here. And Hibs gather through. Nicky Cadden scored in the last 2 for Hibs. And lays the ball back onto Ardale. Ardale just knocks it across onto Joe Newell. Newell onto Bushiri. And Bushiri swings the boot, plays it out wide. Miller gets the head flick on, easily headed away by Nielsen. Nielsen tries to find McGrath. The ball runs out of play. And Lee Miller decides he's taking that. O'Hara has a look, plays the ball inside onto Bushiri. Bushiri onto Ardale. Aberdeen pressing through Keskinen, but it's just launched long, and Rubezic can take that on his chest. And a little bit of pressure from Hoylett. Horrible ball back to Mitov. Mitov has to swing and knock it high into the air. Hoylett tries to get underneath it. Rubezic wins the header to knock it away. Kahanovic is chasing back on the goalkeeper. Now the opportunity for Aberdeen, but Bushiri gets there, helps out Ardale. Keskinen was flying down that right hand side. And the ball played out wide. Opportunity for Hoylett. Hoylett drives it into Eli Ewan. Ewan sends it back onto Cadden. Cadden outside the box on the left hand side, driving for the byline. Good ball in. Rubezic makes sure there was no particular issue at the edge of the 6-yard box, but Michael Stewart, Hibs had 4 players in there waiting for that.
Yeah, there's plenty of bodies forward. It swung back towards the defence and then quickly up again after. I'm not sure what Rubezic was doing with his clearance.
Here's a little ball across. The head flick came in from Kuhanovic. Couldn't make it happen. Miller heads it back across goal. Newell was up there. Breaks off his back to the edge of the area. And Keskinen gets it away from the edge of the D. Hibs will gather again. O'Hara plays it out wide. Here's the opportunity for Miller. O'Hara again. Back on the inside. Triantis onto Bushiri. Bushiri lines it up. Ardale plays it across. Triantis comes short again, tries to play it forward. The initial block by McGrath. The ball will go out of play on this right hand side. Lewis Miller will take. Lewis Miller, 6 caps now for Australia. And now here's the opportunity. Triantis plays it forward. Hoylett was shoved off the ball, but not according to the referee. Keskinen's challenge was fair. Shinnie calls for it. It's very short. Hibs players getting right round the ball and winning it back quickly. Newell gets it onto Nicky Cadden. Cadden coming down that left hand side, out wide onto Junior Hoylett. Hoylett flicks it past Devlin. Cadden races towards the corner flag. Shinnie goes across with him. That breaks off the heel of the Hibs man. I think there might have been a pull anyway. Free kick.
I'm surprised. I thought that would have been given as a free kick. Initially it just looked like Keskinen had not kicked him or fouled him in regards to sliding into a tackle, but just his motion came in and seemed to me as if he blocked him off a little bit. But then Hibs did very well because they had plenty of bodies in there. They were shutting Aberdeen down. Aberdeen weren't able to get that first pass to release somebody and break forward as they like to do.
Bit of energy about Hibs at the moment. 0-0 so far. 11 minutes gone. McKenzie drops the ball on the inside. On to Nielsen. Nielsen looks up. Plays it across onto McKenzie over the halfway line, advancing away from Kuhanovic. Out wide now onto Duke. Duke on this left hand side. Duke pulled the ball back onto the right boot, then sets it up for McKenzie to get the cross in. It's low, it's hard. McGrath sends it towards goal, and Bushiri got the first touch to take it away from his goalkeeper and then turned the ball behind. I thought the goalie was saving it, but Bushiri just in a difficult position and made sure he got it away.
I think the keeper probably was going to save it. I thought Bushiri rather got in the way. He was a little bit fortunate because it wasn't a particularly good clearance, but he managed to recover from it. But Jack McKenzie doing what he's done for most of the season, got that international call up as well, hitting the byline, cutting it back for McGrath. Good run from the midfield. Didn't really get enough on it, to be perfectly honest. Should have done better.
First corner for Aberdeen from the left hand side, whipped in by McGrath. Ball breaks down. Kahanovic gets it away. The only player left back is McKenzie, who is the left back. Ball gets played back.
You look at that last attack though, and it was just, what I was mentioning before, acres of space in the wide area. Jack McKenzie actually had it before it. He popped it in field, and then when he got it back he had even more space than before, and he was completely unopposed as he went up the park and played a wee 1-2, getting towards the byline. Very easy for Aberdeen to attack there.
Euro forward on Daly Ewan. Ewan steps away from his man, 20 yards from goal. Gets away from Shinnie, tries to shot. Good effort. Good save from the goalkeeper. Diving to his right hand side. Fisted the ball behind. It's a corner to Hibs. Daly Ewan with the chance. Dimitar Mitov for the save.
That's good play. Good attacking play for Hibs. Ewan skipping past a couple of opponents and getting a good strike on goal. Too close to Mitov to really get it past him though. Good strong goalkeeper. You expect him to make that save, but positive play for Hibs, and you can hear the crowd are getting behind it.
Corner kick will come from the Hibs left. The obligatory pushing and pulling going on, and Bushiri up against the goalkeeper. The referee just warning Rocky Bushiri, giving him a bit of a telling to be honest, just get on with it, and if he's fouling, give the foul. Corner kick to come from the left hand side. Referee Callum Scott watching on. Corner will be delivered. Hibs now make the move. Into the middle it goes. It's Nisbet who wins the header. Breaks out wide onto Cadden. Cadden feeds it back onto Hoylett. Hoylett dropping down. Will he go for the byline against Kiskinen? No, he cuts inside, gets it across. And Kevin Nisbet again gets the header away.
You see that last attack, obviously the good play from Hibs. It all came again from a slack bit of play for Kevin Nisbet. There's been a few moments where he's looked just off the pace.
Yeah, he's not started in here the last 5. He has had some minutes off the bench, but just looks a little bit slow at the moment. He'll try and grow into this game. He's the last person that seems to be facing if he's going to find some of his goal scoring form at double figures in his last season at Easter Road. As Jordan Smith plays the ball away, little head flick down by Rubezic, headed back by Newell. Rubezic slides onto the ground. McGrath gets away from Newell, puts Newell on the ground. The ball is won by Hibs, it's turned back. Newell goes down again and doesn't get a free kick. The ball is with Hibs though. He made the decision easier for the referee, and Bushiri plants the ball into the stand on the far side. I was having a look at Jordan Smith. I think he's played less than 10 games in the last 4 years at this level. That's not good for a goalkeeper. He needs a little bit of a run somewhere.
Well, he does, and he gets his opportunity tonight. The important thing about getting an opportunity is being able to take it. It doesn't matter how many games you've had, Paul. Really, you've just got to show that commanding presence in between the sticks. That's the opportunity he's got here tonight. If he is tested, he hasn't really been tested so far. Then he's got to be good enough to say to the manager that he's the right man to carry on in that position.
Aberdeen play the ball long, Hibs knock it out of play, so it's a throw into Aberdeen, 0-0 so far. BBC Radio Scotland Sports Sound on a Tuesday evening at Easter Road. Malloy plays it past Nielsen, past David Gray into the Hibs technical area, so runner given away, and the throw will come from Lewis Miller. Lewis Miller onto O'Hara.
I would say it's not great from Aberdeen so far. I don't think that Jimmy Tielan's got him starting the way that he wanted them to start. It's at 15 minutes on the clock. I mean, it still is early, but I haven't seen too much, as Michael said. Kevin Nisbet looking rather sluggish out there. Some of the passing hasn't been particularly good. They haven't really put too many passing movements together. Hibs are actually looking a better side at this moment in time, in my book anyway.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Hibs have been fairly bright without being outstanding, whereas for Aberdeen it's not been a quick start. Certainly what Jimmy Tillene was looking for.
There's Elliot running his way through Rubezic. Good tackle. And picked up by Shinnie. Shinnie plays it out wide onto Keskinen, but Elliot wrestles the ball back. Keskinen tugged him back there. That's a free kick to Hibs, which they've taken quickly. Nicky Cadden out on that left hand side, playing in that wing back position, drops the ball back in onto Eli Johan. It's the 9th appearance of the season for Johan. Out wide it comes onto Lewis Miller. Lewis Miller looks up, takes a touch, comes out wide, gets past Duke, tries to get past McKenzie, almost did so. Duke then came in to help the defender, and Miller did well, knocked the ball out of play. The referee's given the free kick. Lewis Miller can't quite believe it. It was going to be an Aberdeen throw anyway, but he didn't believe that he fouled Duke in any way, shape or form.
But there was a little bit of contact. I think I would say that if there's a little bit of contact, then you know Duke is going to go down. So I think it was a throw-in. I don't think there was any harm done. I thought perhaps it was contact. Well, it was contact made, and probably was just a free kick.
Well, Lewis Miller, being the shy retiring Australian that he is, would have pointed it out very gently to Duke that he didn't appreciate how easily he went to the floor. 0-0 so far. Driven forward, Dimitar Mitov, Bulgarian international goalkeeper, sends it forward, headed back from whence it came. Our assistants are Jonathan Bell and Graham McNally this evening. Our fourth official is Ross Hardy. For some reason the SFA seem to hide the names of the fourth official on their website, and it's left to knowing it on the day. It's Ross Hardy, it says on the team sheets. Ball gets played forward by Aberdeen. Keskinen from Shinnie inside onto Nisbet, trying to get the touch away, couldn't do so, lays it back. Devlin with a chance, deflected. That's going to be a corner, and again Nisbet finding himself, Michael, in a good position and not quite sure what to do.
I just think he's caught on his heels a little bit. I mean, look, you mentioned the fact he's not started in the last 5, and you can sort of see that at the moment. He's just not quite on his toes and anticipating. Good play for Keskinen. You know, look, the back three, you would imagine, and I think perfectly situated and set up for Keskinen to go and attack in between Iredale at left centre half and Nicky Cadden at left wing back. That's the area he just loves to go and attack. And it was a big gaping hole there that Keskinen was exploiting.
As Graham Shinnie is taking this corner from the right hand side, whips it in. O'Hara got the header away, back into the mix, he gets it away again. It's Keskinen who returned it for Aberdeen and trying to chase to keep it in was Graham Shinnie. He wasn't going to do so, shouts at the ball boy to get another ball before the other one reaches him. That's going to be left for Nicky Devlin. Devlin looks ahead, sees what his options are, not seeing any movement in red at all in front of him. If he was walking at the moment, Nielsen walks away from him. Nicky Devlin looks like he's unimpressed. He eventually throws it in to Nisbet. Nisbet down the line, flicks it on. Keskinen tries to get the head flick onto it. He reaches into the box. He's still inside the area. Tries a little twist and turn. Arndale's with him, and then Nicky Cadden comes across to make the tackle. Tries to drive it down the line. Does so. Kaharovic won't get there. The ball has gone out of play. And it's going to be a throw into Aberdeen.
Yeah, I mean, eventually it worked out okay for Aberdeen, but it wasn't impressive, the throw-in, was it? There was very little options. And you would have thought that that would be something that they would be working on. It's actually quite easy to get possession from a throw-in if you've got some set plays that you've already practiced, but it didn't look as though Aberdeen had much to offer on that occasion.
Hoyland away from Shinnie, plays it out wide to Miller. Miller into the area. Rubizic takes zero chance, heads it behind, corner Hibs.
Good play, more good play. Junior Hoylett spinning away from a few tackles in the middle of the park and seeing the space in the wide area. Lewis Miller getting the ball at his feet and he puts in a good ball. Kukarovic is just a little bit sort of slow to see that he needed to try and attack that front post space, but in the end an easy enough header for Rubizic to clear.
Nicky Cadden prepares to take the corner. This from the right hand side. We're watching down to our right from the back of the main stand at Easter Road as the ball comes in. Mitov doesn't get there, and Bushiri goes up, wins the header and knocks it up and over the top. Not a noted goal scorer. Rocky Bushiri has certainly never scored for Hibs. This appearance number 77, but he got free.
He did, yeah. It was off the top of his head. He was never going to get it in target, but why I had a smile on my face was that you've got Mitov doing high fives with Devlin there. If it was me, I would be giving the goalkeeper an absolutely dog's abuse. He was nowhere near coming for that cross. He was getting in the way too. We're fortunate that Bushiri couldn't get up above and get the header down, but it was poor goalkeeping. Why are they? Maybe it's something new in the game. Maybe it's the way they kind of a bond just now. But I think you can bond by having a real blast at one of your teammates.
Positive reinforcement, isn't it? Ball gets played out wide. Jim Leighton's probably still shaking as the ball gets played out on that left hand side. Again, Ellie Young gets the ball. He's fouled Rubizic that time, and another chance, Michael Stewart, for Hibs to drop the ball in and see what problems they can cause.
Yep, it's Rubizic just getting sucked into a tackle there. Look, as much as I wouldn't be playing Eli Johan in my own team, he's been bright so far in the opening 20 minutes or so. He has actually looked like he's capable of doing something tonight, although having said that, still obviously nothing has happened yet, but it looks a wee bit closer to doing something, and credit to him because his performance so far has been all right.
now involved in the last 6 games, Elliot. And Cadden fires the ball in, the goalkeeper comes, doesn't get it, but there's nobody in behind him. Lewis Miller tried to get in there, it was just a little bit high for him, and it sweeps all the way out. It's going to be a throw-in to Aberdeen, but Mitov went to wonder.
More high fives as well, that just does me in. Mitov's nowhere near it. It was worse than the earlier cross into the box. He's absolutely nowhere near it. You've got to read the flight of the ball as a goalkeeper. You've got to have a bit of composure in there, and he certainly hasn't showed that in the last 2 occasions, and very fortunate again to get away with it.
Would never have guessed that it irks you.
Michael Stewart, Willie Miller, myself, Paul Mitchell here at Easter Road. Ryan McLaughlin is pitch side. He'll keep us up to date with all the happenings down there. As Arndale wins the ball, gets it forward onto Cadden as Aberdeen are slow in the defence. This is a positive performance for Hibs so far. No wins in the last 4 at Easter Road. They've drawn 2, that was Hearts and Dundee United, and they've lost 2, Motherwell and St Mirren. Long ball forward, too long on that occasion.
Well, what Hibs have been able to do is they've been able to get themselves onto the front foot and stop Aberdeen. In the first 5-10 minutes they were playing those longer balls and turning Hibs, which I was saying early on makes sense. It allows to sort of open up the midfield and create a bit of space, but the game's become very bitty, and Hibs have been able to get right up on top of Aberdeen, and it's not allowing them to play those balls over the top, and it's become very scrappy. And Hibs at the moment have been the team that have been on the top. They're the ones that have been able to actually knock it about a wee bit. Aberdeen have not been able to build the game.
Jack Arndale plays it onto this right hand side, but he overcooked it that time. Former Aussie Youth International player.
And I was just going to say that the hugely important thing in this game, an aspect, is that while Hibs are on top slightly here, they've got to be creating opportunities and really troubling Mitov, and they've got to get their noses in front, because you can bet your bottom dollar there will be a spell or a moment in this game where Aberdeen open up and potentially they will find the back of the net.
And they could do so here. McGrath's come forward, plays the ball on the inside, hits off Bushiri and away. There's a poor ball inside by McGrath, and now it comes off Johanovic. Dukpo gathered inside his opponent's half. The back heel was sublime. It releases McKenzie. 3 in the box for Aberdeen. It's back to McGrath. Chance shot deflected away. McGrath's down. I think Bushiri got the ball away, and it's thumped clear. Jack McKenzie is yelling at the referee for a penalty, and there may be a VAR check coming here as that ball got knocked away as McGrath went down. Ball's out on the far side.
He got the shot off. I think it's a follow through. And he's caught Bushiri. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I didn't get that close a look at it, but my first impression was good run from McKenzie, great cross in for McGrath. McGrath, goes for it with the left foot. He gets the shot off. It's blocked, and I think the follow throughs went into Bushiri, and that's how he's down. I don't know if the physio is going to come on or the referee is going to ask him to go on. Listen, it's worth a shout for a penalty, but from where I'm sitting, I didn't think so.
Well, they are checking it. Yeah. No penalty there. Quick decision. Difficult to say because I didn't see it. Obviously you look at the strike and your eyes are drawn to where the deflection's gone.
I just think it was a follow through, Michael. He's had the shot. Yep. He's had the opportunity to strike the ball. It wasn't as though and I think he's followed through, and he's actually caught Bushiri.
I don't think it would have been Bushiri, because I think Bushiri was the one that it flicked off, who was a couple of yards away from him. There must have been somebody else that was sliding into him, but I think you're right. It didn't stop the strike getting away.
It seemed to come off Duke's hand. It did so. Yeah, we've seen that a couple of times this season where once players have got the shot away, they have been tackled a little bit roughly, shall we say, but the referee said, no, you're fine, you've done your job.
I'm not even sure whether, as Willie was saying, I'm not even sure that he was tackled. Yeah. I think it's his shot that he follows through and catches whoever it was that was maybe trying to make a block. Anyway, it doesn't matter, because they've obviously looked at it and decided that likewise there was no foul.
There was Joe Newell tracking back. So it's 0-0 so far. Good news for Hibs, 27 minutes gone. Aberdeen not quite at it. Hibs looking a little bit lively, but they would love the opening goal. Here comes McGrath. McGrath now clips it forward O'Hara goes back, has to try and play it away down the side. He does so into Lewis Miller. Miller gets the ball away. He's taken down by Jamie McGrath. A wee warning coming there. And if he does that again, he's going in the book.
I don't know about you, Willie, but Duke's looked a wee bit off it as well. He's looked a wee bit sluggish. I get what Aberdeen are trying to do. You know, they look to do it a lot. You know, the ball's breaking, turn the defence quickly, especially force this Hibs defence into actually making something happen, or they've got to make a decision. But even when they're playing that ball over the top, Duke's not even alert to it. He's like 5 yards off. It becomes fairly comfortable for O'Hara to be able to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, Keskinen's looked
he's the one
most threatening of the front three, but Kevin Nisbet there's nothing coming from him. He's not making himself a target. He's not really looking for the ball in behind either. So, and I don't think Aberdeen have had any real control of the midfield. I think Shinnie and Nielsen, has Nielsen touched the ball? He hasn't had too many touches.
Oh my word.
Lovely ball through by McKenzie onto Duke. Hibs defence just partied for it. Duke with a chance to get it in.
Lewis Miller. I mean, see, he's a full-back supposedly. He's playing as wing-back. The same principle applies. If you offer a country mile on the inside channel, guess what? The opposition are going to slide it in. And that's all it is. I mean, he basically dictates to Aberdeen what they should do there by stepping so far out and going touch tight on the on the shy line here.
Corner kick worked in. The goalkeeper comes for it, doesn't get it, breaks off Miller, but it was a push. And that was away. And again, it's another goalkeeper coming. Another goalkeeper flapping in the air and not getting it, like the whistle had gone.
It's not a good night for goalkeepers, is it? I mean, I don't
he
know.
Didn't get a high five though.
He didn't get a high five, no. He didn't deserve one either, because again, he's not judged the flight of the ball. He's came out and, okay, there's a little push on him, but even without the push, I don't think he's getting it.
How difficult is it really to go from the back two that Hibs have played for most of the season, all of a sudden to play at the back three, and that has a knock-on effect, as Michael was saying, on Lewis Miller.
Don't ask me about a back three. You're the wrong person. Although when I was manager I did play it. It didn't work then either.
0-0 BBC Radio Scotland, 30 minutes gone. All the action here at Easter Road. Opportunity for McKenzie over the halfway line.
Oh, he was in.
Dinked it forward straight off Miller's head.
Jamie McGrath was in.
Just didn't lift the ball enough.
He didn't, you know, the right-sided centre-half O'Hara was getting pulled into a wider area with Duke, and McGrath was making a run right through the heart of the defence. I don't think McKenzie needed to try to clip it over Lewis Miller's head. I think there was space for him just to slide it, like actually just down the inside into McGrath's path on the deck.
Jack Iredale has to take the ball and knock it out of play on that far side as Aberdeen push again down the right hand side. Last 10 years these sides have met 30 times in the league. Hibs successful on just 6 occasions. Aberdeen take 3 points 50% of the time. Shinnie plays the ball into the box. O'Hara will leave it for his goalkeeper, who yells, and he'll take a touch and roll the ball out onto Lewis Miller. Miller pursued by Duke, runs past the ball, runs Duke away, and Miller will gather inside his own half. O'Hara back to the goalkeeper once more. Jordan Smith listed at 6'1".
See when wing backs and full backs get the ball and they're under no real pressure, honestly, for me, they're just so comfortable with passing responsibility on the defence, pass it back. There is nothing stopping full-backs and wing-backs on so many occasions that just opening your body slightly and try and hit somebody in an advanced midfield role or your striker. Go and play for there. You're literally on the side here. You know the game is all one way. It's not as if somebody's coming from behind you.
Yo switches the play from left to right. Miller gets it outside the area, crosses in, breaks off McKenzie, goes behind. Hibs have a fourth corner after 32 goalless minutes at Easter Road.
You know what I mean in terms of no real pressure. You've got at least 3, 4, 5 yards. Just change your body angle. You know, if you're to stand there and go, right, you've got a channel of 5 yards, there's 2 cones, try and hit the ball between it. You'd be able to do it every time. Try and do that into a striker's feet.
It's responsibility, isn't it? You know, it's actually taking that responsibility on board.
Cadden plays it in, goalkeeper takes it at the edge of his 6-yard box, gathers, pushes away Kaharovic, who bumps into him.
That's due a high five.
Well, you didn't get one because he's got both hands on the ball.
So you only get a high five when you don't actually take the cross.
You get a mental high five when you catch it. Here's Duke gathering over the halfway line, lays the ball back onto McGrath. McGrath gets away from Triantis, played out wide onto McKenzie. Miller tries to close him down, slides to the ground, knocks the ball out of play as McKenzie tried to take it past him, throw into Aberdeen.
It's a bit of spell from Aberdeen though, isn't it? You know, it's really the first time, 33 in the clock, that they've actually made an impression on the home team. Hibs have fallen out a little bit. Aberdeen have taken a little bit of control, but it's only been for a short space of time.
From Aberdeen, 5 or 6 yards on the corner flag on the left-hand side. And they will take it sometime tonight. It's eventually thrown in onto Nielsen. Nielsen, a little twist and turn, plays it inside onto Shinnie. Shinnie now on the angle, back onto McKenzie. McKenzie drags the ball back onto the right foot, blocked by Miller. Out of play it goes. It's another throw for Aberdeen, who are just starting to press a bit more now, Michael.
Yeah, a wee bit, just feeling their way into the game. Still, you've got to be looking for a bit more from a few of the players, but the slight sort of concern is for Hibs that they've been okay. It's 0-0, and you get a sense of Aberdeen just starting to make and feel their way into the game here. I've no idea what's happened to Lewis Miller here. He just dived and headed the ball. I'm not sure how he's
landed on
himself.
He's landed on his right arm. He is refusing to move that right arm. It's not moved at all in the last 20 seconds, and you just wonder if he's done damage to the wrist. Immediately Hibs, I think, send out Chris Cadden to warm up. Hibs physios are there now. Over half his body is off the field, but his knees and legs, the backside are on the line and over, so we cannot continue the game. And again, they're being very, very careful with him at the moment. It's fallen awkwardly, certainly on that right side, the right shoulder. They're just paying some attention to now at the moment. He's slowly getting back to his feet and trying to stretch up. The referee will check him. They're now checking the elbow and the wrist as well. And he'll be asked to leave the field of play momentarily. And the referee just pats him on the back and gives him the bad news that he won't be on when the corner's taken.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he had to really be as forceful with the header as he was. I think at times you've got to think about the game rather than just reacting to the ball that was going over his head. But anyway, he's fallen, really awkwardly. He's still suffering a little bit on the touchline, but we'll be back on soon.
Opportunity from the corner for Aberdeen, swung in deep. The header back across, it's gone behind. The referee says goal kick. Lubasic was the man who was up. It remains 0-0, 35 minutes gone here at Easter Road, BBC Radio Scotland. The home side have failed to win any of the 4 league matches last season. The away side won 3 without a home team scoring. The other game finished 2 apiece at Easter Road. So we're perhaps due something here this evening as Jordan Smith drops back. Miller is back on the field of play. No damage done.
I'm surprised at that.
Ball played forward on that far side. And there's a little touch taken on by Bushiri. Got there ahead of Kevin Nisbet. Forward it goes. Hoylett doesn't get there. Ball breaks to the side. There is the lesser spotted Nielsen as he loses the ball, and it's played on to Eli Johan. Triantis being urged to play it out wide. He's done so. Nicky Cadden can take it in stride on that left hand side. Cadden up against Devlin at the edge of the area, knocks it past him into the area. Graham Shinnie reads it and bumps the ball away into the stand on that far side. That was better from Hibs.
Yeah, good, but also good defensive play from Aberdeen. Nicky Devlin would have been there or thereabouts when he got nutmegged, try to win the ball back, but didn't need to be because his captain recognised the danger, filled across, plugged the gap and cleared the ball.
Aberdeen have won it. Keskinen in the midfield, gets away from 2, still going, being pursued by Triantis, gets the ball away, although he somehow gets it himself. He's going to try and take on Jack Iredale.
He's quick. Yep. Iredale's quick. That's a couple of times he's been able to sort of match the run for Keskinen, and it's another moment where you're saying from Kevin Nisbet, run, stretch the game. Keskinen picks the ball up, and instantly he wants to go and commit the opposition. As long as he holds that line, he's helping the defence, because he's running into bodies. If he's got an out ball where he can just slip it past the back, defender, knowing that his teammate's running onto it, or if somebody drops off with the run of Nisbet, it means there's more space for him to run into. But he's continually just sort of holding that line.
It's too easy. It's too easy for the defenders to mark him. He's not causing them a problem. They don't have to think too much about Kevin Nisbet. They have to worry about Keskinen's pace, that's for sure. But Airedale was really quick there. I mean, Keskinen get nowhere near him when he tried to take him on 1v1. But Nisbet he isn't doing it, is he? He isn't doing it in the first. And there hasn't been enough in the Hibs penalty box to give him a sniff. He's maybe had one, possibly two little opportunities in the box, but he just doesn't look fit for me. Doesn't look as though he's wanting to make these runs in behind, and that means Aberdeen are basically a man down.
Here come Hibs, 35 yards from goal. Ewan on to Triantis. Triantis plays the ball out wide. There's Miller. Miller trying to gather. Back to Triantis, sends it across looking for Cadden. Little head flick came in there by Devlin, falls for Cadden, works a little 1-2 at the edge of the area, trying to take on Devlin. Devlin out with him, down by the corner flag, stops the ball from running out. Does Devlin, tried to flick behind him, ball goes out of play. It's a throw into Hibs, which they take quickly. And Joe Newell has it on that left hand side. Newell into the middle, Rubezic in the edge of the 6-yard box, breaks down to Ewan. Ewan cuts inside, tries the shot, breaks off. Nielsen goes behind. It's another corner for Hibs.
You just feel that Rubezic need to clear that ball better. I think he's got plenty of time to see the ball coming. The headers, basically right down to Johan. He manages to create a little bit of space, gets the shot away, and Nielsen is there. It's Nielsen that gets a block in on it, but better header required, I think, from the centre half.
Corner kick from that left hand side. Opportunity to swing the ball in. Hoylett steps in, drills it in low. Duke with a header away that time. Back to the other number 11, Joe Newell, who rather whiffed at the shot. Aberdeen clear, but only as far as Cadden. Cadden plays it back out wide to the Canadian Hoylett. Hoylett, ball on the right foot, into the middle, headed down the middle. Joe Newell with the shot, deflected, and in! The Hibs captain puts Hibs ahead. It's a much needed goal for the men from Easter Road. It pinged off a couple of players en route to the back of the net. Joe Newell doesn't care. Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0.
Well, I was talking before in terms of Hibs just needing to find a way to win the game, whether it's a deflection or whatever. It doesn't really matter. The result is what counts. And 5 minutes before half time, a perfect time for them to get themselves in front. They've been bright, for large parts of the first half. They've looked to go and try and make things happen in the final third, and that was a couple of sort of waves of the attack there where Hibs were picking up second balls and keeping the pressure on. Aberdeen not able to really clear their lines, and that was a perfect example, dropping towards the edge of the box. Joe Newell had space to get it under control and get the strike away. They were late to close them down, and deflection. Mito's got no chance, sends them the wrong way.
They deserve to be in the lead. Hibs have been the better side.
Yep.
They've been the more productive side. They played the better football. They've had marginally the better opportunities, and for me it's two bad headers. It's Rubezic first and foremost, and then it's Mackenzie that heads it straight to Newell, and yeah, they get a little bit of good fortune, but they've probably had quite a bit of bad fortune so far this season, Hibs, as it flies into the back of the net after, I think it looks like two deflections off Aberdeen players.
Yeah, I thought there was two. One of them certainly was Nicky Devlin, goalkeeper. Well, he could do nothing about it. He just pinged past them so quickly, and Hibs have the lead.
Big questions, Aberdeen. They've come away from Paisley with a defeat. They've not been at it so far in this first half. It's been sluggish from a number of players, and now Hibs have got something to hang on to here. They're at home. The crowd have got behind them because they've seen a little bit of urgency and a wee bit of desire for the performance. Aberdeen, they've got to come up with the answers now. They've been posed a few questions.
Jimmy Teelan facing Hibs for the first time as the goalkeeper.
That doesn't help. No. That does not help.
Played back to him, took far too long.
Well, Kevin Nisbet got on the end of it. He blocked that.
He's been watching the Southampton goalkeeper. If you watch those goals against Liverpool, which were decidedly awful.
He was on the bench watching his own keeper on Saturday.
Yep, very much the same thing. Here's the opportunity now for Hibs. Eli Johan starts to move forward. Hibs opening the scoring for the 6th time in the Scottish Premiership this season. They've won 1 of the previous 5. Aberdeen have come from behind against Celtic, but couldn't come from behind against St Mirren. As Kuhanovic goes down, Devlin falls, blocks the ball behind. Kuhanovic says that he blocked it with his arm. The referee uninterested. It is a corner. I mean, Devlin fell awkwardly, certainly seemed to hit the top of his shoulder and go behind. And all it's going to do is get a little word for Kuhanovic with the referee. It's still jaw-jawing at the moment and gets a yellow card.
Yeah, it was awkward from Devlin though, wasn't it? You know, he did go down, looked as though you would claim for it. I don't know if it came off his arm or not, but he was falling, you know, all the way. He lost his footing there as he went to the byline. The referees having none of it, and it's not been checked in any shape or form. So it didn't look like a penalty from up here. It looked rather awkward from Nicky Devlin.
Corner kick to come in. Into the middle it goes. Kuhanovic with a header just wide. Jamie McGrath was on the post. He watched it go wide. The two Hibs players have run into each other. They've collided. And we're going to get another stoppage here. I mentioned Michael, Jimmy Thielen's first game against Aberdeen, David Gray facing him. It's the 12th different combination of managers in the dugout in the last 13 games between these two clubs. It's quite incredible, isn't it? Quite incredible. Alan Preston dropped me a wee note earlier. The only managerial duo to face each other twice was Jim Goodwin and Lee Johnson. Every other time, I mean, that is some stat.
Was that 2 games back to back?
Yeah, and that's it.
Not meaning like week to week.
Oh yeah, yeah, probably. Unbelievable stuff though, when you think about it. How it has all changed so quickly. Well, what's changed around Easter Road tonight is Hibs have the lead. David Gray is happy. The other thing I noticed that Aberdeen played here last season. Clarkson, Polvara, Majowski and Boyd were the goal scorers in the 4-0 win that did for Nick Montgomery. Well, none of them were playing tonight. Polvara and Co not available as Hibs slowly get themselves.
It's been a poor first half for the Dons. You know, Jimmy Thielen wanting, you know, a better start, and they've had a number of first halves that haven't been that impressive. I don't think as bad as this one. You know, I just feel the midfield are out of it. I don't see Nielsen at all having the influence that he normally has. Same goes for Shinnie. He's normally got much more energy in there. I just feel that Nisbet's done nothing up top, and Duke is rather anonymous so far.
Well, it's Hibs with the advantage at the moment, leading by 1-0. In 16 goals in the last 4 Scottish Premiership meetings at Easter Road, and Hibs have the opening goal here tonight. That's from Jonio.
That's poor quality for Nielsen there. You know, he's trying to drop a ball over the top. Aberdeen, they need to get back to basics. The full-backs are their out ball. That's where they've got space to start to build and commit players. They've got overloads in the wide areas. They've got 2v1s. You've got Duke and Mackenzie here against Lewis Miller. They've been trying to play these balls over the top far too often. They started the game doing it, understandable, and they had a little bit of joy with it. Stretch the game, get your ball players in the middle of the park on the ball. They need to stop and they need to start getting the ball played. It was an accident, that.
Yeah, so Lewis Miller's gone through, Jack Mackenzie's gone down, he's slid, he's won the ball, and he has caught a boot possibly just above the eye. It was a complete accident. I don't think anybody thinks otherwise. Well, the referee does. That looked accidental to me, Michael, but the referee's shown the yellow card.
Well, I said it at the time. I mean, it's unfortunate. Jack Mackenzie was sliding in. Lewis Miller was trying to jump over, and his boots accidentally caught Mackenzie.
Yeah, it's a poor decision.
Yeah. Look, you can give the free kick without having to produce a yellow card there. It was an accident. Okay, it's a foul. No need for the yellow card.
David Gray's going to get booked as well. He was yelling at Ross Hardy. Callum Scott now calls him over, and the card comes out. I often think when you're one of the younger referees, you're trying to make a mark, you're being watched very closely, but a quiet word there surely would have been enough for David Gray.
But it's been pointed out by, you know, the fourth official, isn't it?
Yeah, Ross Hardy.
I mean, he shouldn't. I think you've got to take the pressure that David Gray is.
Yeah.
I don't know what he said down there, but it didn't look, and it was a wrong decision by the referee as well. We all know that it was a wrong decision, so just
calm it down. Just to a certain extent, just ignore it. You know what I mean? Turn around and say, have a quiet word with David Gray yourself. You didn't need to be getting the referee involved. But on the whole, I think Callum Scott's been alright. I think the ref's done fine. That was the wrong decision, but his fourth official didn't help him. Sometimes fourth officials are actually, the mere fact they're there is antagonistic.
Yeah, they are pretty close. I mean, the conversation continues between them as McKenzie plays the ball over the halfway line, picked up by Kevin Nisbet, quite fortunate to get that ball back, but he did so, and it breaks off Triantis, through on to Duke. Duke trying to go into the area. Duke plays it across, nobody waiting in an Aberdeen jersey. It's headed away by Iredale, and it's just not clear by Triantis. A little bit of panic at the Hibs rear guard on that occasion.
Well, I think it's understandable, isn't it? At this stage of the first half, they're seeing, they're one goal up. They want to get in at half time as well, and Aberdeen are putting the pressure on.
McGrath to McKenzie. Miller went down, he slid, and the ball hit his arm. McKenzie then was complaining and trying to appeal for a free kick, didn't get one. But Hoylett's given the ball away, straight on to McKenzie. McKenzie into the middle, the header! And Nisbet into good position. Bashiri couldn't get up, straight at the goalkeeper in the end. There was no power on the cross, he had to transfer it himself, but straight at the goalkeeper.
Yep. I'm surprised he was able to, it's not great defending. You could see what was happening, and he's able to get across the face of Bashiri, just not able to get enough power on it to trouble the goalkeeper. But that would have been a classic, Hibs end to the half. They get their noses in front, you think they're going 1-0 up, and at half time, shoot themselves in the foot. But it didn't happen on this occasion. David Gray will be relieved, because I'm pretty sure as soon as he sees Junior Hoylett giving the ball away, it would have been that sinking feeling of, oh no again.
Not under a great deal of pressure, was trying to play football rather than drive the ball away. And now the opportunity for Jordan Smith, who is taking as much time as he can with this goal kick. And plus 5 additional minutes were announced from the last of those 5, as the ball gets played up towards the halfway line. Kuhanovic eased away, ball goes out of play. Referee happy that Kuhanovic wasn't fouled, as Malloy throws the ball back to McKenzie. McKenzie throws the ball into Duke. Duke against Miller, lays the ball back onto McGrath. Not seen him in about the last 10-12 minutes, Jamie McGrath. Lays the ball back onto Nielsen. Nielsen trying to step forward inside his opponent's half. But the half-time whistle goes at Easter Road. Well, a bright start from Aberdeen gave way to some Hibs dominance. Aberdeen then snuck back into the game, but it was Joe Newell with a deflected effort from distance that flew the ball past Dimitar Mitov to give Hibs the lead at half-time. At Eastern Road, Hibernian 1, Aberdeen 0.
Hibernian versus Aberdeen in the Scottish Premiership, live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Join me, Billy Sloan, for a special with The Edge from U2.
I've no intention of retiring. Music is kind of my recreation. I do it for fun. Bono's singing those songs. He's singing from a different place.
We talk about how to dismantle an atomic bomb on the album's 20th anniversary.
Sometimes he went, well, you know what? The problem is your chorus. Your chorus isn't working.
And their mega concerts in Las Vegas.
Our first challenge was to try and figure out how to present rock and roll in this venue.
Billy Sloan. Listen now on BBC Sounds.
Sorry to do this, chaps, but it's Hibs that have the edge at Easter Road. Thanks, Paul. Did I get a high five for that, Willie? No, clearly not. So Hibs won up, and for once the boos at half time here, Willie, weren't for Hibs but for the officials.
Yeah, and you can understand why. You know, the decision to book a player and the manager right at the end of the first half, which was unnecessary. So, I felt like booing them myself, to be perfectly honest. But of course, we have got to stay neutral on these occasions, and that's what I did. But no, it's been disappointing from an Aberdeen point of view, and pretty good from a Hibs point of view. I think, they went out there, they certainly gave everything for the manager. The shape looks good. They've been a better team. They haven't caused too many issues for Aberdeen defensively, but enough to make the Aberdeen defence have to think about it. The goal was a little bit of good fortune, but at the same time poor defending from the Dons. Two really poor headers in my book from the two defenders, Rubizic and Jack McKenzie. But Aberdeen have had no control of the midfield at all. Duke doesn't look. There will be changes at half time. He normally makes changes at half time. Does Jimmy Thielen. I wouldn't be surprised if Duke came off. Keskinen looked at times as though he was a threat and he had that pace and he was willing to run and take on defenders, but he hasn't had any help up front because Duke's done very little. And for me, Nisbet just looks just off the pace. He doesn't look as though he's a player that wants to make the runs that are required to be a threat in behind and get the central defenders tested. So from an Aberdeen point of view, poor, but from his point of view, I think they've played well. They've showed a lot of energy. They've been thoughtful in their build-up at times as well, and they've got the all-important goal.
Yeah, we were over the green, Michael, for Hibs. That I'm sure fans are all thinking this might be the moment. This might be the moment our fortunes are reversed.
I'm not too sure that they'll be thinking like that, because the way things have been this season so far, they'll be sort of looking through their fingers and hoping that it is. But certainly that was not bad in the first half, considering how desperate things have been this season. The performance there from Hibs in the first half was not bad, all things considered.
That's high praise indeed from you, Michael.
I mean, I'm being serious in regards to, it wasn't scintillating, it wasn't like glorious, but you're not going to expect that where they are. And that's what I'm trying to say. When you take everything into consideration, that was not bad from Hibs in the first half. And as much as I've been extremely critical of them, and I think it's all been warranted, I've got to give them a bit of praise there in the first half. That they've turned up, they've performed, they've got their noses in front. Yes, it was a bit of good fortune, but you have to capitalise on that now. They've got themselves in front. They have to show that bit of steel and grit that has been sorely lacking all season, and defend this lead. Try and obviously increase it, but make sure they get a clean sheet. If they get a clean sheet tonight, they've got 3 points. They're off the bottom of the table, and that is psychologically massive.
That's the big question, Will, isn't it? Can Hibs hold on to a lead, something they've really struggled with? I think I said at the start of the show, they lost 14 points this season from winning positions.
Yeah. It's concerning, and be in David Gray's mind, but he'll be happy with the first half performance, and I think that's all you can really focus on. He'll be asking for the same effort from his players, same energy from his players in the second half, and they've got the 5 defenders on there as well, we've got to remember. So it tends to be 3 centre back, 2, so it might be a little bit easier for them to defend that lead, and certainly David Gray will be hoping that that's the case. They've just been better all round, but Aberdeen have had a poor first 45 minutes, but that's not the first poor 45 that they've had this season. So Jimmy Thielen needs to get that magic dust and get it sprinkled on some of his substitutes and get them on and give Hibs something to think about. They haven't had anything to think about.
They've not, they've got the 3 centre halves in there, and Aberdeen have not really moved them. And I don't mean in regards to turning them, because they've tried to do that plenty, but it's all well and good try to turn them. It's where you're playing those balls from, and it's ended up being deeper and deeper, and the balls they're trying to play are now just becoming like long balls that are being competed for. It's not really turning the opposition. And I keep going on about this. Their full-backs are in acres of space, particularly down this left-hand side. You know that Jack McKenzie wants to go and attack, and he can link up with McGrath. Likes to play on that inside channel. I know he's playing as a 10, but he really likes to play on that inside left channel. You've got Duke as well, that's obviously directly in front of him here. You have got combinations to go and exploit down those wide areas. Keskinen, as we've already touched on, has been the main attacking threat. He's obviously on the other side. Devlin can go and link up with him. That is where you're sitting in there in the changing room. For me, Jimmy Thielen's got to be just clarifying to the players again. Look, full-backs, they're our out ball. Get them on the ball and look to build from there, because as soon as you get them on the ball, it's going to force Hibs to do one of two things. Either they need to step up and, commit and engage the fullback, or they sit in that position and the fullbacks can bomb forward and look to play little 1-2s in those pockets of space. Aberdeen don't need to start playing that longer ball. They're being pressed centrally by Hibs' two centre forwards, Juhan and Kukarovic, and the midfield in behind with Hoylett and Triantis and Newell are trying to press. But all the space in the wide area, get it into the fullbacks, look to build the game from there, and it means one of the Hibs players has to step out and engage the player, or they can bomb right forward up until the attacking third unopposed, as has happened on a couple of occasions.
Well, there was one point, Willie, I thought it was just a matter of time before Aberdeen punished Hibs down this Aberdeen's left side, because Mackenzie was getting the ball into McGrath on a couple of occasions. He didn't really make the most of his efforts on goal, but I thought they were exploiting that well, and I thought it would yield results eventually, but it hasn't.
No, it hasn't. Some of the balls from Mackenzie hasn't been good enough. A couple of them, yeah, very good. The one that he cut back to McGrath and had the shot, I think it was Bashiri that blocked it. I think you would like to see, from an Aberdeen point of view, you'd like to see Devlin doing more down the right hand side. I think Duke isn't doing enough. I just feel that if he's hanging in on that wide area, he's got to get the ball. You've got to get the ball out to him. And I don't think Aberdeen's had much control of the midfield. I think Shinnie and Nielsen have been poor tonight. Shinnie hasn't shown the energy that he normally does. Maybe the game coming too quick for him. He doesn't have that energy. And Nielsen the same. Nielsen has been rather anonymous, and the kind of feeding the ball from that area out to either the wide players or the fullbacks has been pretty non-existent. Nisbet for me is not doing nearly enough. He's not causing a problem. If you're a central defender out there, and they've got three of them, remember, he's too easy to mark. Is he coming short? No. Is he going long? Not on too many occasions. Is he linking? Now and again, but that's not enough. That's not enough for your striker.
And one time I thought, Willie, he might have made a difference was when he closed down Smith, the Hibs goalkeeper at that point. He showed a real turn of pace and desire then that kind of had been absent.
But that's been it. That has been the only time that he's shown that energy and that pace, that drive and determination, for me anyway. He's got to do much more. If you're looking at a target man, then your main striker, your number 9, then he's got to be able to give the opposition defender something to think about, and he hasn't done that. He's got to play on the shoulders, he's got to look for the ball, he's got to demand the ball more as well. So Duke and Nisbet's been poor. The two midfield players haven't done. McGrath's been okay and Keskinen's been all right. Like to see more from Nicky Devlin. So it's just not been a performance of first 45 minutes that I'm sure Jimmy Talleen would be happy with.
And Mitov's not looked very confident at crosses, Willie.
No, don't start me again. Just calm down.
Just winding him up. But Mikey, I noticed you said Eli Yuan wouldn't be in your Hibs, wouldn't be in your team.
No.
I've been impressed by him, and any time I come, mind you, it's usually when I come to see St Mirren playing against Hibs, and I see him in the starting lineup, always my heart sinks a wee bit, because I just think he's a bag of tricks and he can be dangerous. But you disagree.
Yeah, I do. I mean, that first half performance from Eli Yuhan, again, very much like Hibs. It wasn't incredible, scintillating, outstanding, but it was good. It was good, and all things considered, where they're coming from, that's why I'm saying well played. But that is all too infrequent. It doesn't happen very often, and a lot of the times there's not a great deal coming in an attacking sense, and as a defensive setup, it's very, very limited indeed. But look, tonight at the moment, I'm not going to focus too much on what he hasn't done or what he can't do, because in the first half Hibs have been okay, and I think they deserve a little bit of credit and to focus on the positives there, because throughout the season there's been very few of them for the Easter Road side, but tonight they're 1-0 up against Aberdeen, and it's a massive second half that comes for them to make sure that they can hang on to this 3 points. And if they can, as I said, the live table is they're off the bottom. They're 2 points ahead of Hearts at the moment. And they've played the same number of games now. This isn't a case of getting off the bottom of the table and you've played an extra game, which you would still obviously take because you want the points on the board. This is their game to catch up. They're ahead of Hearts by 2 points. And everything we've just discussed in terms of the calamitous season that Hibs have had so far, they're potentially 2 points ahead of Hearts at the bottom of the table.
No, a couple of wee errors, Willie, but no real clangers or gaffes from Hibs.
Not yet.
So far.
Yeah.
The night is young.
Not yet, yeah. But, you know, it's about concentration, you know, and that's a responsibility that the centre-backs in particular, I think, have got to take on for Hibs. They have got their nose in front. You know, if they can keep that ball out their own net, then they win the game. And as Michael said, then it'll give them a huge lift. Won't it? Lift the gloom, seeing them leapfrog, you know, their city rivals and going above Hearts in the table. Even although it's at the bottom of the table, it still will lift that gloom. So far it's been a good night for them. I think they deserve their winning position at half time. But you know, there's still going to be questions, and can they handle the pressure? Can they see this game out? Can they actually add to that one goal as well? Because with that, and I suppose the other question is, what does Aberdeen do? Does Jimmy Taylor make the change? You know, and how you're going to cope with the change if he does make it, as I'm watching the team coming out. And I don't.
They're out sharpish, Willie. They're out sharpish, Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Well, this is a big second half for Aberdeen. You know, we spoke about it before the game. It's obviously off the back of the defeat in Paisley. They're 1-0 down here at Easter Road. They've got an away game at Tynecastle coming up on Sunday, followed up by Celtic at home. This is a big few games coming up for Aberdeen. And if they don't manage to turn it around here, you can get a sense that things start to feel like they're just slipping slightly.
It looks like Nisbet's off, Willie.
Yep. Nisbet and Clarkson's on. So it's not a recognised number 9 that Aberdeen will be playing with.
I wonder whether they'll chuck Duke through the middle.
I think that would be the natural.
Yeah. McGrath going on the left and Clarkson is a 10.
Yeah, he's done nothing in wide area.
I'll tell you what.
For sure.
I tell you what, Hibs not on the field yet. I'll just take. Oh, here they come now. Actually, here out come Hibs. Would you expect any changes there, Michael?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. You know, obviously, David Gray will be happy with what he saw in the first half. They're 1-0 up as well. Unless somebody's taking a knock, I wouldn't expect them to be making any changes at half time.
All right, both sides on the pitch now, so I'll hand you back over to match commentator Paul Mitchell.
So as it stands, Aberdeen would remain in second place. They'd have played one game more than Rangers with an 8-point advantage. They will be 3 points behind Celtic if things don't change tonight. Hibs would go above Hearts onto 11 points in 14 games, -9 the goal difference. Hearts -9 the goal difference on 9 points. Compared to last season, Aberdeen are 18 points better off on the same stage last term. Compare that to Hearts, who finished third, who are currently 11 points worse off than they were at this stage. So Hibs with the opportunity to get themselves off the bottom of the table, a big 45 minutes ahead, and we're underway at the start of the second half. Hibs coming from right to left as we watch from main stand. Great vantage point here at Easter Road. Is a mistake. Plays the ball back into Ewan. Ewan gets the ball onto Hoylett. Hoylett's still here. Gets the chance. Blocked by Shinnie. Pulled back. Kahanovic. And chance for Newell. Hits the post. What an effort that was. Aberdeen were all over the place. Hibs started so quickly, but Joe Newell clipped the post. The goalkeeper is hurt. He is down. What a start, Willie Miller.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it's an electric start, and it all came from an error from Aberdeen, you know, allowing Hibs to have the possession. Hoylett couldn't get the strike in fact, I think he had 2, maybe even 3 efforts at it before it fell to Newell, and Hoylett didn't really show the composure that was required. I felt inside the box there. He kept swiping at the ball and he didn't really have it under control, but Newell certainly did. He just curled that left foot round it. It was unfortunate to see it coming off the post, but a really positive start from the home side.
Well, exactly what Aberdeen don't need. You know, they're 1-0 down. We've just been talking about the questions that are being posed of them. It was a slow and slack opening there, and it just gives Hibs even more belief here. Makes Aberdeen's comeback all the more difficult when you you're creating and having unforced errors like that.
Well, that was almost the second for Joe Newell. The Hibs skipper has his side ahead as Kahanovic loses it out to Rubezic. Rubezic plays the ball back onto Mitov, who's stumbling backwards and plays the ball up towards the edge of the Triantis. Tries to get the ball away, does so. Sent out wide onto Lewis Miller. Miller onto Hoylett. Hoylett starting the second half brightly. Pulls the ball back onto Miller. Miller into the middle. Shinnie got the header away. Just Kahanovic trying to chase. And Devlin's the player who comes away with it. And then he bundles into Joe Newell. He popped the brakes on. Free kick to Hibs.
So this is what the Hibs support have been waiting for. You know, it actually looks like a side that have got that wee bit of bite about them. You know, they actually look like they've got an extra yard about them. They're closing down, hungry to make tackles and get the play going.
Johan flicks it out wide. Cadden into the middle. The goalkeeper will gather. And it was Lewis Miller who was coming in behind him. And Hoylett just runs alongside the goalkeeper.
Aberdeen have got to show greater urgency here. They've got to look to make something happen, just like McGrath's done here.
McGrath's away from Newell, moving up towards the edge of the area. It's on to Duke. Duke gets the shot and it's blocked and it goes behind. It was Bushiri and it goes behind. It is going to be a corner. Bushiri's hurt.
I'm not being funny. Bushiri's gone down here as if he's like poleaxed. Mitov went down as if he had been shot. Lewis Miller was down here when he went for a diving header as if somebody had smashed him with a sledgehammer. Like, folk are going down, and honestly, give it a minute and he'll be up and he'll be fine. Like,
he's been encouraged to get to his feet because, well, his team doesn't want him to defend again with 10 men at a corner.
Exactly, you don't want the physios on. You don't want to have Bushiri having to go off. Yeah, he's I think he's taken the strike in the nether region. But hey, after 30 seconds or so, you're okay. You're back up. You don't need any attention from the physio. You just get on with the game. And you're right. You don't want to be down to 10 men.
Clarkson plays the ball in, easy header away. Jack Arnold. And now it goes up towards the halfway line. Aberdeen tracking back through Shinnie. Johan took him down. Although again, Shinnie just popped the brakes on, won the free kick. The Hibs fans unhappy. And that decision was always going to end up like that.
You put it down to experience, do you? He just played for it, isn't he, Graham Shinnie? He does that from time to time. It is him using all the experience he's got. And Johan, not using whatever he's got in between his ears really there, because I think we could all see that that's what was going to happen.
Devlin plays the ball back to Rubezic all the way back onto Mitov. Aberdeen have now lost 13 goals in 13 Scottish Premiership matches. They have scored in every Scottish Premiership game this season. They need to do so tonight to take something. As Cadden fires the ball forward, Kahanovic chases after it. Malloy only had one thing he could do in his mind, and that was to put the ball out of play. Mitov was calling for it, and the defender decided not to take the chance.
Yeah, but I think, if you show composure there, then you can play it back to your goalkeeper.
Here's Hoylett by the byline, moving in towards the edge of the area, gets it across. Cadden with a chance! He's always going wide, we're right behind it, but he just dinked onto his left foot, swung at it, and sent it wide.
I'll tell you what though, there was almost every Aberdeen player back in the box, but Nicky Cadden had acres of space in the box. It's one of those where you end up seeing all these players back, but nobody's actually doing anything.
Long ball from Shinnie for McGrath to chase. Mahora back to his goalkeeper, Jordan Smith. Clean sheet so far.
There's no doubt Hibs have rocked Aberdeen here.
It's not quite what Hibs were expecting. As Clarkson plays it in the middle, they've stepped up a gear, they've looked good coming out at the start of the second half. And Aberdeen, having made one change at the break, may need to make another one or two. Here's Shinnie in the midfield for Aberdeen. Plays it across the centre circle inside his own half. Rubezic drops the ball down onto Devlin. Keskinen is out wide on this right hand side. Keskinen drives in, gets the ball across, takes a deflection, headed away by Newell, picked up by Devlin again, 35-40 yards from goal. He's going to step up and go. Nicky Devlin plays it through, works the 1-2, it's on his wrong side, it's on his left foot, plays it back to McGrath. And he sends the shot wide, just did not fancy swinging that big left foot of his and trying to get in the net.
Well, he should have. You know, it was running kindly for him. Okay, he wasn't confident, but I think you have a pop at that. You just don't know. You might just catch it sweet and it ends up in the back of the net. Really good work from Devlin, you know, driving forward. We haven't seen enough of that, I don't think. Said that at half time, he needs to do more of that. But for me, the decision there was to have the stripe with the left foot. It doesn't have to be sweet, you know, just get it on target, you know, and you don't know, it could take deflections as well, but to relinquish that responsibility, I think was the wrong decision.
4 goals already this season for Nicky Devlin. He scored against Hibs at Pittodrie last term in the 2-apiece game. As Newell fires it out wide onto Cadden. Cadden coming down the left hand side, plays the ball back onto the halfway line. Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0. Hibs have hit the post in the second half as well. Bushiri has it into the centre circle, lifts it out wide. Header won by Cadden. Cadden played it forward. Malloy has to come across and knock the ball away. David Gray be very happy with what he's seen at the start of the second half.
Yeah, definitely. But you know, the opening couple of minutes, it was very, very good from Hibs. But fair play to Aberdeen. There's been a little bit of a reaction here. You get the feeling that this is going to be a meaty second half. Feels like there's going to be something in it for both teams. Obviously, Hibs are in front. Aberdeen look like the message has been clear for the manager. Things need to be better. They need to up the tempo, the urgency, the intensity. Need to play quicker. Need to be working into the wide areas.
Hibs have got Smith and goal. It's a back three of O'Hara, Bushiri and Iredale. Miller and Cadden are wing backs. Newell, Triantis, Hoylett, Youant with Kuharovic. The man up front. Free kick won by Aberdeen. Have got Mitov in goal. Back four of Devlin, Rubezic, Malloy and McKenzie. It's Shinnie and Nielsen. And it's Keskin and Clarkson. McGrath with Duke now coming through the middle.
But see there, that's how you build the game. That's how you get Nielsen and Shinnie on the ball a bit more. You work into the wide areas first. You can get the ball forward, and then it can get popped back into the midfield. They can go out the other side, or they can look to play forward as well.
Ball played on the angle, and Keskinen tries to get in there, closes down Cadden. The ball is out of play. Down pitch side for us this evening is Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, the second change of the evening coming for Aberdeen. Jimmy Tilley not happy at all with the opening 6 or 7 minutes. So Topi Keskinen is coming off, and he'll be replaced by number 20, Shayden Morris.
I'm surprised that Keskinen has been hooked so early in the second half. Well, I know he's obviously chucked Duke through the middle, but I'd even have been inclined to, if you're going to bring Morris on as well, I'd have maybe even thought about putting Keskinen through the middle perhaps.
Well, Duke on his 100th appearance looking to make his mark. Jamie McGrath's looked a shadow of himself in the last 20 minutes of the match overall as the ball is wide onto Morris. First touch in the back heel from Duke. Second chance from Duke. Goal for Aberdeen. Comes from Jamie McGrath. It was played back to him. Hibs defenders on the ground. He swung his right foot at the ball, drilled it into the corner. Hibs 1, Aberdeen 1.
I'm sorry, it's quite incredible. Jimmy Tilley, he makes that change. Morris comes on. 2 touches he's had, maybe 3, because he took 2 touches and then he crossed it into the box, and you know, Duke's there with a little back heel, and eventually it pops out and it ends up in the back of the net. But the substitutions that he makes, it just works. There's something about this first half of the season, whenever Tilley goes to the bench, makes that decision, it just happens.
Are they waiting for something here? The refs holding the game up as if they're checking for something.
Well, they're checking for possible offside. That is the issue at the moment, but the referee...
It must be for Morris making the run in behind.
Yeah, he's just saying to the Aberdeen players, hold on a moment there. Hold on. Duke's asking if he was offside. He wasn't. Morris wasn't. The goal is given, and Hibs and Aberdeen are tied at 1 apiece.
I just saw the replay, and I've got to be honest, I have got no idea what on earth they were even looking at. At no stage did it even look remotely close to being offside. But just to go back and be clear what I'm saying, I wasn't surprised that Morris was coming on, because he has a great impact. I just thought perhaps you would have thought about Keskinen going through the middle, because I thought he was the liveliest of the front players in that first half. And you know, he's got pace as well, which is what they're looking to do with Duke through the middle. But ultimately it doesn't matter, because they've got themselves back in front, and Duke actually looked, he was quite reactive in there in the box there. when the ball went over for Morris. And as Willie said, it is incredible. But ultimately, it works and it happens because they know exactly what's expected of them. And the players also know when Morris comes on. Look, what did Nielsen do? He knew as soon as that ball was coming to him, he was dinking the ball over the top.
Yeah.
From his perspective, as fast as Morris is, it's no great defending. You've got to be understanding of that as well.
You know what he's going to do?
Yes.
He's going to try and hit the byline, so you should be able to get a yard and a half, maybe even up on him, because he's not going to come inside you.
Bushiri takes down Duke. Duke just nutmegged him.
Good play. Down. Good play for Duke. And now the game has flipped 180 completely, and Aberdeen, you get the sense of tails are up, and this is where the nervousness comes for Hibs.
Long ball over the top, down towards Morris. It's the Aberdeen fans who have packed out the lower tier this evening and some of the upper tier to the stand to our right hand side. Not the busiest I've seen Easter Road for this fixture, but it is a Tuesday night towards the end of December, and because Michael Stewart and Willie Miller November are too polite to point out that 30 seconds before Jamie McGrath scored, I did say he could have been taken off. Reverse commentators first.
I didn't hear it, Paul.
Too kind. Here's the opportunity for Iredale. I just thought he drifted out the game, but all of a sudden, right time, right place, and Jamie McGrath popping up for his 5th goal of the season, 11 last term. So Hibs come forward down this left-hand side. Nicky Cadden looks ahead. The next little while will tell us a lot about Hibs this season. Going to now deal with a little bit of adversity. 1-1, inches away from going 2-0 up. Been dragged back by the Dons. Now Triantis tries to play it down the side. Over the top it goes. Cadden turns, yells at him, and holds his hands up to say he was sorry.
This next wee spell is vitally important that the supporters actually stick with the team here, because look, I think we all get the frustration and they've been quite rightly critical. But they've been all right in this game so far, and nervousness is inevitably going to lead to a couple of mistakes. This is where they need the supporters just to stick with them.
Cadden brings the ball down, gives it away though to Nielsen. Nielsen fires it out, and Nicky Devlin can't keep it in. Thrown to Hibs, down by the halfway line. Really dull, these fixtures, Willie.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been enough in the game to keep us all excited. I don't think it's been spectacular. I wouldn't go that far, but at the same time, you know, Hibs deserved their lead at half time, came out and looked as though they were going to add to it, but Aberdeen, you know, and Jimmy Taylor making that change again and having an immediate impact. Quite incredible, the changes he makes and the impacts that these changes have, and Aberdeen getting themselves back into the game where, you know, they could quite easily have been 2-0 down, you know, early in the second half. And it's now a test of character for the Hibs players out there. They've got to, you know, show the resilience, brush that equaliser off and get back to the form that they showed in the first half.
You know though that Aberdeen are really going to go after them here. This makes for a very, very interesting half an hour or so coming up.
Ball out of play, it's going to be a throw into Hibs. Almost level with the penalty box. It's left hand side. Iredale fires it in, headed away by Devlin, straight back to Iredale. Iredale takes the touch, tries to go past. Morris has done so. It's about the quality of the cross now. He hooks it across. Lewis Miller is up, breaks off for Nielsen. Chance for Hoylett, blocked by Rubezic. Comes back out to Triantis. Triantis into the middle, it goes headflip down. Johan! Oh, what a block from Nicky Devlin! That was going in from Eli Johan, and somehow Devlin got across and made the block to send the ball behind.
Huge block. Because I think you're right, Paul. I think that was probably going to sneak in at the near post. I don't think Mitov would have been able to react quickly enough. It's a strike from what, maximum 6 yards out.
What a block that was. Corner comes in, and knocked down and on to Morris, and hooked away. Bushiri's wanting to stay forward. Hibs have got the ball back on the halfway line. Iredale tries to take it past Duke and does so. If he hadn't done so, it was just clear route to goal for Duke. Here's the opportunity. Iredale chips it across. Gohanovic's looking for it. Tries to win the header. Then there's a push. Malloy goes down, and the referee, well, he could actually indicate, because he's allowed to do so with his arms. It was so obvious. I don't think he even thought he needed to.
I know Iredale's left-footed, but there was no need for him to be cutting back onto his left foot. He could have stepped in front of Duke and still kept the ball, on his left foot and taken Duke out the game. But to turn back like that's kamikaze defending, and they got away with it.
Opportunity now for Aberdeen to build through Graham Shinnie. Shinnie onto Gav Malloy. Malloy plays the ball over the halfway line. Looking ahead, McGrath's calling for it. McGrath still calling for it. Gets it played to him from Mackenzie. Mackenzie now up at the edge of the area. But Aberdeen will drag the ball back. Malloy's to chase slightly together on the halfway line. One apiece here. Kuhanovic.
Oh, he's lucky.
Kuhanovic took that away from Shinnie, and the referee gave the free kick from his angle, perhaps, or our angle. Didn't think so. Here's Aberdeen coming forward from the free kick. McGrath works the 1-2 at the edge of the area. Shinnie's at the edge of the box. Sets up for the right foot shot. Goalkeeper spills it and knocks it away. And Joe Newell gets the ball away from 16 yards from his own goal. Turns it away. What a game.
Yeah, I mean, this is lively now. Really bright for Aberdeen. They were fortunate though. For me, that wasn't a foul on Shinnie. He tried to shield the ball from Kakarovic to begin with, and I think he just lost the physical battle.
He bounced back up and he still had control of it as well, so I don't know why the referee blew the whistle, but the strike was decent enough, but it had to be either side of the goalkeeper, not straight arm.
Hoyle, the former Don, plays it out wide on Taylor Johan. Johan drives it across, and Shinnie inside the 6-yard box has to touch it behind. Kuhanovic was right behind him inside that 6-yard box. Goes behind, it's another corner to the home team. 1-1.
And as much as obviously there's been a good reaction for Aberdeen, Hibs still look as if they're capable of producing something here. It's a real end-to-end game at the moment.
Oh, second top against bottom coming into the game tonight. Doesn't look like it at the moment, but Hibs one apiece. Nicky Cadden with a corner from the far side, looking to drop this one in and deliver. Swings it in, the goalkeeper comes, fists it. There's a chance, falling backwards. O'Hara was on the edge of the 6-yard box. It took forever to come down, and he got it up and over the crossbar. Mitov not clever on that occasion. Another change coming. Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, Mikola Kuharevic's evening is over, and he's going to be replaced by the experienced Dwight Gale for the last half hour of this game.
Dwight Gale, 35 years old, comes off the bench for the 5th time this season. He's scored once. He's a good player to have. Kuhanovic is being replaced. This is ideal for Dwight Gale, actually. He can chase him behind the defence here.
Yeah, well, goalkeeper again. Mitov, he's not covering himself, with glory, is he, with these cross balls. I mean, he misses it completely there. That's another opportunity, I thought, for Hibs. When the goalkeeper, he's inside the 6-yard box, okay, it's whipped in, but he goes to try and punch it, and it doesn't make any contact whatsoever. So, he's been fortunate on 3 occasions now that Hibs haven't got something off his poor cross taking.
Hibs have won 6 of the last 9 Scottish Premiership at Easter Road between these sides. 1 draw. The matches they've lost, and they haven't scored. They have got on the score sheet tonight, but Aberdeen have equalised in the second half, and coming again by Morris. Morris terrorising Cadden, plays the ball into the middle. Jordan Smith will gather inside the 6-yard box, but Shayden Morris looks in the mood.
Yeah, well, he's got that about him all season long. I just thought on that occasion, actually, Cadden had maybe just shown him the inside a little bit.
He's won it again. Shayden Morris works the 1-2, but Duke Cadden should get there ahead of him, put some pressure on him and knock the ball away. It's going to be a throw to Aberdeen by the corner flag.
Listen, he's difficult to deal with. He has got pace, and even although at times I think defenders could read him a little bit better and know that he's going to try to hit that byline, it's still difficult with the pace that he's got. He is a real game changer.
Plays it down onto Devlin. Devlin gets it in. Duke tried to shield it off to Clarkson, but Hibs escape. And Eli Yuan now on this left-hand side, driving forward against Rubezic. Forced back to the halfway line. Terrible ball on the inside. Clarkson wins it. Accidentally played it to Duke, and Duke gets it out wide onto Morris. Morris into the middle. Bashiri could have put it past his own goalkeeper. Stretched and played it into the arms of the diving Jordan Smith. And Hibs, well, disaster averted there.
There's been a couple of occasions where, we think about the one in the first half where Junior Hoylett gave it away down in the bottom corner, and you're thinking to yourself, heart and mouth stuff for for the Hibs management team. That was most definitely another one of those occasions, but I think you said it and hit the nail on the head there, Paul. Danger averted.
You wonder if it's going through his head there, because
He's looking right at him.
He is. You know, he's not under any pressure either. It's not as if he has to make a quick pass, Johan, and he gives the ball away, you know, in a really dangerous position, and Hibs are fortunate to get away with that. And you know what I notice in modern football? Nobody says anything to him. You would think someone would have a little word in his ear and say, you know, come on, what are you doing?
Sorry.
That could have been much. That could have been the second goal for Aberdeen.
Sorry, he put his hands up.
Here comes Duke down by the corner flag, tried to lay the ball back, gives the ball away, and Miller sends it down to Gale. Gale wins it well. Good tracking back by Jack McKenzie, though. Aberdeen are hungry here.
Yeah, that's been better from Aberdeen in the second half. Out of possession, just shutting down, winning balls back. The general tempo of their second half performance has been far better than the first. It does pose the question of what Willie was saying before. It's not the first time it's happened.
No, it's, you know, it's just much more energy. It isn't anything. There's not a secret formula other than Talene making these changes, but he does that. It's just they look more energised.
Eliuhan leaves Rubezic for dead. Devlin comes in to try and help. Eliuhan still at the edge of the area, twisting to the left hand side, tries to get the ball across. It was never on, and Gavin Malloy plays it away. And that to me is a lot of Eliuhan. Gets himself a good position, works it well, and then can't find that finish.
Yep. I mean, nobody's going to tell me that Shade Morris is quicker than Eliuhan. But you see the danger that Shade Morris creates every time he gets on the ball, because he gets it simple approach, and it causes chaos for the opposition.
Shade Morris, it's his 19th appearance of the season. He only played for Aberdeen 19 times last season. So he's enjoying a much better spell with the Dons.
You know, it's a huge strength as a player knowing what your own strengths are. You know, there's a lot of players, and Willie will tell you play it and you think to yourself, like, come on, do you know, like, go and do that. Do you not recognise that's what folk...
Hoylett onto Miller, back into Hoylett in the area, came off Malloy's head. It was a shout for handball, didn't look like it. Hibs whipped that forward so quickly. Aberdeen now trying to respond. McGrath, the goal scorer, plays it to Clarkson. Clarkson steps away from Newell, plays the pass inside his own half onto Devlin, over the halfway line, onto Morris, trying to do what he's good at. Morris, two Hibs players on him, will pull it back onto Nicky Devlin. Duke wants it played into the middle. That's where he plays it. The header from O'Hara, and man goes down at the edge of the area. It was McGrath, there was nothing in that. Now it comes back onto Nielsen onto Devlin, didn't take on the shot with the left foot last time, so cuts inside on the left. Joe Newell said he played the ball. He is yelling at the referee. Nicky Devlin then, well, Jack Iredale has gone down. Nicky Devlin's in trouble here. If he made contact, Devlin is off. If Iredale didn't get any contact, then there's a problem with simulation. The referee is trying to separate the players at the edge of the area. I have to say, I'm not 100% sure. They will go to VAR to have a look at this one. The referee might have to make a call first.
Well, I think my instinct is that he's made a complete melee of it, but it certainly doesn't look great when Nicky Devlin jumps up like that. I think it could be the classic, they'll both get a yellow card.
Yes, the referee will tell him he's disappointed in both of them.
Yeah, it was a silly reaction from Nicky Devlin, and Iredale, I thought, just overplayed it as well. You know, a bit of a pantomime, and it is the season for...
Come on, ref, come on, he's having a wee word with him. Here we go, there it is. He's got in his hand, one, finish with you, and two.
Well, we saw it coming, I think that was fair to say. And, well, probably more interesting now is the free kick at the edge of the box, which Hibs feel is a bad call.
Do you know what? I can understand where they're coming from, because I think Nicky Devlin's cut inside. There's probably a bit of contact, but it's more just a collision between the two. I don't think Joe Newell's actually like put a leg out or pulled him down or anything like that. So I can understand where there's a bit of frustration there from Hibs. I thought Nicky Devlin could have just played a wee slide rule ball on that inside where he was. You know, he's inside he's probably on the line with the edge of the D. I thought he could have just slipped that ball down the side of the defence, because I'm not sure who it was, whether it was Clarkson or somebody was on that inside channel, and I thought there was a wee ball to be played there. Instead he tried to dink inside, and look, they've got a free kick in a very dangerous position though.
Who gets it? Duke or Clarkson? Duke will want to hit it, one of them strange hits. What do you call it? There is a word for it, but can't think off the top of my head.
Clarkson steps up first, goes for it. It's a good save from the goalkeeper, gets in the second attempt, but has only pushed the ball wide. Nicky Devlin is in there. Devlin plays it in. Duke goes up, great header away. Bushiri, and it's taken away by Ewan at the edge of the area. Oh, beautifully chips Clarkson. Hibs now on the counter attack, and he somehow gets the break of the ball against Rubizic. Doesn't against Malloy. Malloy sends it high in there, drops down to Jack Iredale. Iredale heads it forward, taken down by Duke. We have one heck of a contest. Stay with us here on BBC Radio Scotland. All the action from Easter Road. Here comes Shayden Morris driving again at the edge of the area. Morris trying to get past Iredale, going to the byline, chips it across. No Aberdeen player there. Brilliant ball across to Nielsen, drops it down onto Shinnie. Shinnie on the left foot, tries the shot. Newell with a block. Nielsen then plays it out wide. Here's Jack McKenzie. McKenzie up at the edge of the area, still going McKenzie. The block comes in from Lewis Miller. What a match this is turning out to be.
This is like a cup tie with like 5 minutes to go.
It's usually better from an Aberdeen point of view, isn't it? And Morris again, what a threat. Iredale knows that he's gone down that line, and Iredale's quick too, and he was using his arms as well, trying to just, hold him back, but, Morris still gets to the byline.
It's what you were saying before, Willie, where they know what they're trying to do, and it just shows you how difficult it is to actually stop it, because Iredale gave himself at least a yard, and there was probably only about 7 or 8 to the byline, and Morris still got past him. I mean, incredible. We know he's quick, but it's also right off the bat, that acceleration.
Yeah.
And he has that end product as well. He gets a little pat on the back of the head from Slobodan Rubizic. Hibs are going to make a double change soon, but the free kick's been won by Aberdeen in the midfield. Gale just pulled back Shinnie. Now the free kick into middle, it's deep. Rubizic goes up, the little head flick down. Oh, Hibs have swung over the ball, and Malloy was almost in there, and it was somehow cleared. Cadden got the ball and shouting at his teammates to get the ball away. He comes out to make sure the throw-in doesn't get taken quickly.
You can feel the tension.
It's incredible.
From a Hibs point of view, you can feel the tension begin to build with the fans, the nervousness that are going around this stadium.
They've given the ball away again. It's with Morris in this right-hand corner. Morris with 2 Hibs players around him. Nicky Cadden goes to ground, turns the ball out of play, and it is going to be an opportunity to get the ball again in for Aberdeen. Well, Hibs just one league win this season. That came against St Johnstone. In fact, both Hearts and Hibs have both beaten St Johnstone. As the ball comes forward, it's with Duke inside the area. Ewan takes the ball away from him. It's given back though. Duke tries to go through. Iredale. It's going to be a goal kick. Well, it's fast, it's furious, and Brian McLaughlin can bring us the changes.
It's going to be a little bit busy down here very shortly, Paul, because Junior Hoylett and Nectar Triantis are going to be replaced for Hibernian. Coming on will be Chris Cadden and number 18 Kwan, who's on loan from Celtic. Aberdeen also looking to potentially make a change. It looks as if Esther Sokler is getting ready at the moment, but I'll come back to you very shortly with that change.
Thanks, Brian.
It was Josh Campbell that came on, by the way.
Josh Campbell. Josh Campbell is on. It's 32. I think the board actually put on the wrong number, so it is Josh Campbell that is on the field of play. So an opportunity in the last 15 minutes for Aberdeen and Hibs to try and find a winner here. Certainly been an entertaining evening. And as the ball gets played away by McKenzie, Bushiri slides inside his own half, sends it up. Touch came in for Gale, drops down onto McGrath. McGrath lays it back to McKenzie. McKenzie spars it forward towards Duke. Bushiri wins the header, straight down to Morris on the centre circle. Brings the ball down well, clips it out onto the near side, onto Devlin. Devlin now trying to get away from Campbell. He's done so, he's in the area, plays it forward looking for Duke. And it's Joe Newell sliding in at the edge of the 6-yard box to turn it behind Aberdeen corner.
Great play for Nicky Devlin,
Campbell looked as though he was treading water there. As Devlin went by him down that right-hand side, and a dangerous ball, just towards the near post. So, a lot of pace down this right-hand side from both the full-back and the wide player.
Graham Shinnie taking the corner this time, swings the ball in, the goalkeeper comes for it, fists it, doesn't get there, chip is in, it's in! It's a simple goal. Nicky Devlin gets the goal. What on earth was Jordan Smith doing? He came for a ball that his defenders should have had. He left his net unguarded, and Aberdeen made them pay. Hibs 1, Aberdeen 2.
No, goalkeeper's got to take it, isn't he? Again, it's quite a simple cross into the box. It shouldn't really be testing him. He gets very little on it. Does get a glove on it, but all he does is pop it down in front of Nicky Devlin. Good finish by Devlin, though.
Aye.
Very calm and cool. Little lob over the top, and it nestles in the back of the net. But poor goalkeeping.
Recruitment, Paul. Recruitment. Yep. You can go and talk about, and I said it before the game, you can shuffle the deck and you can play these other players and you can, hope for something. That's not good enough. Plain and simple. And it's the reason why he's probably not been starting games previously. Josip Bursic isn't good enough. Jordan Smith has just shown himself to be no good enough. It's simple as that. That is horrific. It's absolutely horrific. And they're now 2-1 down. Aberdeen have got their tails up, and the performance has actually been no bad for Hibs. On the whole, no amazing, but it's been alright. And now they find themselves 2-1 down, and Aberdeen are a machine now.
Well, they're flying. Here comes Morris. Morris goes in at the edge of the area, slides down. Bushiri then took him down as well. He went down to the ground, sliding the both of them, and then Bushiri got the ball away. Josh Campbell sliding in, can't get the ball. Duke has it and lays the ball back onto Nicky Devlin. Nicky Devlin, 5 goals this term. It's his best goal scoring season for Aberdeen. This is second season, 4 last term. Hibs trying to find a spark again. Here comes Lewis Miller, the Australian. Eli Uran on his outside. Joe Newell coming as well. Out wide it goes. Ball into the middle. It's a great ball across. A chance off the bar from Cannon. Back to Campbell. On to Eli Uran. That could be a penalty. Might have been a hand in there as well. The ball goes wide.
Wow.
That was incredible. Nicky Cannon hits the bar.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's 100 miles an hour. Folk clattering into each other. The ball spinning out into dangerous positions. I think it was Kwon who put the ball in. A really good ball, by the way. It looked as if Nicky Devlin had incredibly dealt with it, but still presented an opportunity for Nicky Cadden. Yeah, they're looking at something, but I would be astonished if they gave anything, because whoever it was is standing less than a yard away from the ball.
Yeah. And it's drilled at him.
Yes.
Even if it has hit an arm, you would think no penalty.
Yeah, it's clear.
No penalty. There's the answer.
And it's impossible. Obviously, you got a feeling there was something there, Paul. You see that in live play. It's impossible to say whether it did hit the hand or no. But I'm telling you, just instinctively, even if it does, I'm thinking there's nothing in it. You can't give penalties when there's things that are so close like that. By the way, Duke's actually done well since he's gone through the middle, isn't he?
He's looked much better.
He has looked better, and I was calling for him to get hooked.
He's a handful. He uses his body really well, I think, his strength.
And now he's getting hooked. Now he's getting hooked.
Let's go pitch side.
His race.
Brian McLaughlin is there, the latest change.
Yeah, it is going to be Duke coming off, and it is going to be Esther Sockler coming on. I did have a look at that penalty claim, by the way. It was a shot from Josh Campbell. It did come up. It hit the body, first of all, of Graham Shinney, but then caught him on his left elbow. But no penalty awarded. Absolutely not the correct decision by the officials.
Thanks, Brian. Well, Hibs 1, Aberdeen 2. If you're just joining us here, 11 minutes to play. BBC Radio Scotland. I'm Paul Mitchell alongside me, Willie Miller, Michael Stewart, Brian McLaughlin, pitch side, David Curry, guiding us all through this one this evening.
See if Aberdeen see this game out and win 2-1 or win 3-1 or just win the game. You've got to say they are the real deal. They're the real deal, because they did not play particularly well in that first half. They were 1-0 down. Hibs were playing well, and as much as obviously you think there's the nervousness about Hibs, that's not what's been the real clear momentum shifter in the second half. It's been the fact that Aberdeen have been good and they've gone after the game. Yes, it's a horrific mistake that's led to this second goal, but Aberdeen, the intensity's gone right up.
Campbell plays the ball out wide on Eli Uran, down by the corner flag, left hand side, up against Devlin. Devlin keen not to let him pass, and plays the ball out of play. It's going to be a throw into Hibs. Josh Campbell has 5 goals for Hibs against Aberdeen, got a hat-trick in the 6-0 win. And it's now Ardale, plays the ball into the middle. Rubizic plays the ball away, and for David Gray, if this does stay as it is, be another tale of an individual error, something really a manager can't do much about. That has cost him as Devlin slides. I think he might be hurt as well, as he slid and knocked the ball out of play, and he remains on his haunches as the referee comes over, but Nicky Devlin indicated he knew immediately that he had a problem. The man whose goal separates these sides is currently down, and Hibs, well, have they themselves to blame, Willie, or has that been too hard?
I think that's a fair statement, but at the same time, Aberdeen have been much better in the second half. You know, the changes have made an impact. Jimmy Tielan's got it right again. But yeah, I mean, David Gray can come out and say individual errors, and you can't argue against that. But he's also got to point out the fact that from being in top for most of the first half, then Aberdeen have been in top for most of the second half. And and they've scored the crucial goals, irrespective of how the goals have came. And you know, it's just it looks as though they're going to be rooted at the bottom of the table after this 90 plus minutes. And yes, individual error, but at the same time, Aberdeen have been much better. That's a symptom of their season, actually. You know, their second half's been much better than their first.
Devlin's off here.
Yeah, Aberdeen are going to make a change. Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, Nicky Devlin, he may be the hero for Aberdeen, but it looks like the change is going to be made, and it's going to be Jack Milne coming on.
Throw in taken. Hibs 1, Aberdeen 2. Hibs have to come back to come forward. Here's Nicky Cadden, who hit the bar. Plays the ball into the middle. It wasn't too bad. It breaks almost for Miller, who tries to get his body out of the way because he thinks that's a corner, and he's absolutely right. Corner kick to Hibs.
Aberdeen need to get Jack Milne on here. That's him. Why is he getting pulled back?
Well, he was starting to go on.
All right, yeah, flash these.
Get the studs checked.
Flash these studs, yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Have you ever seen anyone getting pulled? Hold on, go and change them.
Yeah, off you go. Here's the corner kick for Hibs. Time ticking away. 38 minutes gone in the second half. Cadden trying to swing this ball in. Campbell up at the edge of the area. Mahora is there. He splits, comes out wide. Ball into the middle. Elian with a header. Elian with a header over the top.
Nicky Cadden's deliveries have been good so far in this game, whether it's been from open play or corners. Generally, his delivery's been pretty good. But you go back to, who to blame or whatever. I mean, fundamentally, Aberdeen have been far better in the second half. But you cannot ignore the fact, Hibs, I mean, honestly, the mistake, they're not even mistakes you can go, oh well, that happens sometimes. These are calamitous. I mean, just amateur stuff. And you know what the thing is? There's a sense of inevitability with them as well.
Yeah.
Brian McLaughlin, Hibs scrambling now, making another change.
They certainly are, yeah. Jack Iredale, the defender, coming off, and the player coming on. He's been the hero on so many occasions for Hibernian. Can he do it again tonight? There's number 10, Martin Boyle.
6 goals against Aberdeen since December 2019. Martin Boyle hasn't scored in his last 6 matches though, but he's off the bench tonight as Bushiri plays the ball over the halfway line. Malloy returns it, picked up by Elian on the halfway line, spins it forward onto Boyle. Boyle tried to play it through to Dwight Gale. Dwight Gale thought he was offside, and the ball runs all the way through to Dimitar Mitov.
Not sure if he would have been, to be honest. It would have been a tight call right enough, but he just gave up the ghost.
Quans one in the midfield onto Campbell. Campbell tried the shot, he was blocked by 2 Aberdeen players. The ball gets played back to Mitov. Mitov launches it long, and underneath that is Lewis Miller.
I get the feeling that Aberdeen just need to manage the game a bit better here. That they obviously want to go and still attack, but they don't need to force those passes as much. Nielsen's deep in his own half. He's trying to slide the ball forward there through the eye of a needle. But didn't need to do that. You don't need to do that.
Long ball played forward by Hibs. Mitov gathers. Aberdeen, who defeated Dundee by 4 goals to 1 in the previous 6 Scottish Premiership wins before that, were all by a single goal. They lead by a single goal tonight. Hibs certainly much better than they were on the weekend where they lost to Dundee. 15,845. I think that might go into the banner of creative accounting as the ball gets played forward. Please don't write to me, I'm just being honest. There's not nearly 16,000 people inside this stadium.
No, definitely not. Aberdeen have brought down a decent travelling support, but the home fans is very sparse in both stands actually that we're facing. So no, can't believe that figure, that's for sure. But you can understand that as well, can't you? The way the season has gone for Hibs. You can only ask the fans to give so much, and they're not getting enough from the pitch, I don't think. And even tonight, they've again somehow managed to throw that lead away and allow Aberdeen to go in and looking like they're going to see this one out.
Well, it's a big. We've been saying it right through the game. It's a big game tonight, big second half of the night. And now we've got a big last sort of 4 or 5 minutes plus injury time. Because, you know, if Hibs come away from this, it is yet again, as Willie says, finding another way how to lose a game. And they come away feeling so deflated that the performance, especially the first half, good. Second half, it's not bad, but they're coming away with a defeat, potentially. We said at half time, all you need to do, concentrate on keeping a clean sheet. They concede the first one, okay, but you look at the second. I mean,
goalkeeper simply has to do better. Hibs no wins in the last 4 at Easter Road. They're currently sitting on 8 points. And well, that solitary win coming against St Johnstone. They've taken 3 points of a possible last 24. As the Aberdeen fans have a little go at Jordan Smith, just make him feel welcome. Where Aberdeen, well, 19 points in the last 8 Premiership matches. They have been on form, couldn't find a way past St Mirren, but they'd love to get back on track tonight. They're doing so. They're leading by 2-1. Here's McGrath on the halfway line. Got the ball played back by Sockler. Advances, turns, plays it back on to Clarkson. Clarkson opens it up.
That's what I'm talking about, controlling the game. Few passes, stretch it out the other side. Wait until Wait until you've opened the side up, then you can try and drive forward.
Morris and Mill. Morris plays the ball across, just couldn't wrap his foot round it. And Mill goes through. 22, Jack Mill. And off the bench this season for the 6th time. Just couldn't wrap his foot round it as he wanted.
I'm just thinking, you know, if Hibs do end up losing this game, what does David Gray do? I'm looking away at Motherwell at the weekend. What does he do in goals? Yeah, seriously.
Well, it's a toss-up for me.
Penny for his thought. Yeah, but it's a toss-up. You're putting either one in, you're going like, what am I getting here? And then 2 away games, Motherwell followed by Celtic.
Yeah, it doesn't get easier. They then got a home game on the 14th of December against Ross County. County, the only team in the Scottish Premiership to have drawn more games than Hibs this season. Hibs would have settled for a draw at 1 apiece, having been then pinned back by Aberdeen, but they conceded that second goal, and now they're trying to move forward, Hibs, but again, Kwon not getting the ball where he wanted it, and it was easily knocked forward by McGrath. Jordan Smith tries to play this forward. A minute or so to play at Easter Road, then there'll be stoppage time, and Aberdeen led by 2-1. There'll be, I think, 6 minutes of additional time.
Yeah, a fair bit, you know, injuries and substitutions as well, so you would expect, you know, 5 or 6 minutes to be added on.
A couple of VAR checks.
Ball played on the inside by Shinnie. Newell almost got there, but it's picked up by Clarkson. Clarkson plays it through. Cadden got back to stop Morris, and he'll now try and turn and build the attack. Nicky Cadden plays it out wide onto Ellie Johan, but easily read by young Jack Mill. Knocked the ball out of play.
Still feels like a bit of an edgy, shaky game. I mean, still doesn't feel to me like Aberdeen have got complete control of this.
Well, Hibs have struck woodwork on a couple of occasions. They will get another chance. Here comes Ellie Johan. Johan thought about the cross. Twist, turns, gets away again from Mill. Plays it into the middle, missed by 3. And it comes outside the box, almost fell to Boyle. Lewis Miller is there. Out wide onto Martin Boyle. Right hand side, deflected corner to Hibs as we enter the final few seconds of the 90. Hibs pushing for an equaliser.
Yeah, Johan doing really well down the left hand side. A little bit of body movement, some twisting and turning, and putting a very decent cross, low cross, you know, and that could easily end up in the back of the net. What, there are 3 Hibs players there, 3 green jerseys, but unfortunately for Hibs, not falling to any of them.
Cadden plays the ball into the middle. Good header away by Jack Milne up to the edge of the area. Duke was there, come back out onto Cadden, but he can't get there. McKenzie will hook the ball away. Kwon watches it, brings the ball down onto Miller. Miller takes a touch. Did he go down with foul? Yes, he did. I thought it. The referee just seemed to take a beat. Free kick.
Shinnie's not really complaining too much, but gives me the feeling that he probably did catch him.
He did. I think he just went in late, didn't he? And he kind of dragged the legs away from, was it Miller?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a free kick and a dangerous position.
And Cadden, as I said before, with his left foot, his delivery's been very good. Just wonder, is he in a position where he's going to look to shoot, or well, it looks to me like he's lining up for a shot here.
Certainly does fancy it from here. Cadden, can he rescue this game for Hibs? They had the lead They were pegged back and then overtaken. Cadden steps up, left-footed, curls it in! Brilliant from Nicky Cadden! A third goal in 3 games! Into the top corner it goes! Sensational from Nicky Cadden! Hibs are level, Hibs 2, Aberdeen 2!
What a goal! What a goal! I mean, look.
The deliveries have been good, but that's sensational.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a level above. The deliveries have been good, which gives you the feeling that he had a sense for it. His deliveries have been on point. He's been getting plenty of pace and whiff on it. So he's standing there looking, thinking, I fancy it. And boy, does he fancy it. I mean, that's a glorious finish. And it's the sort of thing that could just galvanise them. It could just galvanise them.
Couldn't really have placed it much better, could he have? I mean, that's right in the top corner. Fabulous free kick.
Now can Hibs go on and win it? That's the question. Or can Aberdeen find an attack?
Morris just needs to run. Morris needs to run.
Oh, he got taken out there. That could be a card for Cadden, but
the ref's not even giving a free kick.
Well, again, it's what you see. The ball is back with Jordan Smith. He plays the ball out wide. 2 apiece at Pittodrie last season in a cracking game. 2 apiece in the first meeting of the season between these sides this season at Easter Road. They'll play again the 21st of December. Here comes Martin Boyle. Boyle trying to get his way through. He's being forced backwards though by Nielsen. And then going in there with Sockler. Sockler wins the ball. Nielsen has it. Nielsen reads Campbell. Campbell slams him to the ground. And referee is, I think, trying to go to his pocket to give a card, but then decides that Aberdeen are moving it quickly. Let's not bother. Here's Mackenzie. Plays it out wide. Frenetic finish to this one. 3 additional minutes of the 6 to be played. Hibs 2, Aberdeen 2 on an exciting night at Easter Road. Ball is back with Mitov. Mitov takes a touch in the D. Now sends it long. Bushiri looks for it. Comes running off the side of the head. It's on to Cadden. What a free kick he scored. The ball comes down, touched away by Gale. Malloy almost invited Boyle forward. Spirals that through the middle. Sockler goes in there. Can't get there. Almost falls for Cadden at the edge of the area. Mahora happy to see that ball go out wide. And it's just knocked away by Nicky Cadden. Well, David Gray threw on the extra attacker. Tried to make something happen. Bushiri is down. And is saying going to require some attention. Well, it's not let us down this fixture, will it?
No, it hasn't. It's been an exciting encounter, hasn't it? It's swung from one side to the other. A lot of energy. Both teams having spells where they've been on top as well. When you look back on it, probably quite an even game. And the 2-2, it's kind of fully reflects that situation. You just wonder if someone's got something special left in them to actually take the full 3 points.
20 goals now in the last 5 meetings of these sides on this ground as the ball gets sent out wide onto Milne. Milne pressured by Eli Johan, gets it across onto Morris. Morris now is going to attack the byline. Oh, he's past Cadden. He's inside the area. He clips it across. Chance! Oh! Esther Sockler has won it for Aberdeen with an overhead kick into the back of the net with a bicycle kick, and Aberdeen celebrate. It's heartache for Hibernian, but Aberdeen will win at Easter Road.
Oh, it's quite sensational though, isn't it? Cadden can do nothing about Morris. That pace that he's got, that directness down to that byline, and then he looks up and he delivers it absolutely. Well, perhaps a little bit behind Sockler.
Perfect with overhead kick.
Unbelievable finish with that scissors kick into the back of the net. Smith gets a little hand to it, but the pace of it just takes it past the goalkeeper. But it's sensational. What a game we've had. What a finish to this game.
I'm thinking, could galvanise Hibs. That could just stake through the heart stuff. That could I'd want to see a replay, but I'm just wondering, could the keeper have done better?
I think it's too much power.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think he almost gets a hand to it, but I think it's hammered almost right at him. I think
I'm still questioning whether, I'm not sure, Cadden steps across.
He tries to
block him. He tries to block him. I mean, look, one, it shows you the importance and the sheer brilliance of having that pace to come onto the park. It is so devastating.
Hibs are throwing everything forward here. It might fall for Rocky Bushiri inside the box on Taylor Yuan into the middle, the header across. Bushiri! Rocky Bushiri with his first goal for Hibs, and somehow Hibs are level. What an extra time Additional time played at Easter Road, and if you want an unlikely hero, Hibs have one. Rocky Bushiri scores for the first time. Hibs 3, Aberdeen 3.
That's horrific defending, by the way. Horrific defending for Aberdeen. You're just like thinking, how? Where's the gaps that are in the back line there? Down this right hand side. First they didn't win the initial ball, but the ball's breaking and you're thinking, where are they? Where? For Hibs though, I just talking about the goal that was not even. Which one was it?
Listen, just lap it up. Listen, we've been royally entertained, haven't we? And for it to swing from one end to the other, to get these goals, and the quality of the goals as well. Maybe not that one, and Bushiri bundles it into the back of the net, but the two previous ones were of the highest class you could, hope for in a game. And it's just been sensational.
What a night at Easter Road. As we said, when Hibs kicked off, having conceded, they lined everybody along the halfway line. They played the ball back to the goalkeeper. Everybody went forward. It was a cold play from a Hibs perspective, and they're going to get a chance to get a free kick because they've had a man bowled over inside the centre circle, and Nicky Cadden is going to launch this. 98 minutes almost played. This could be the last action of the match, and surely not. Well, anything's possible. Here comes Nicky Cadden, drives the ball forward. Mitov waits, gathers it. That was an anticlimax. Played too long. He's now going to send it forward. The referee, Callum Scott, brings it to a close. What an incredible evening at Easter Road Stadium. Hibs took the lead in the first half. Aberdeen got back to 2-1. Nicky Cadden with an absolutely sensational free kick to make it 2 apiece. Esther Sockler somehow with a scissor kick to hammer it past in stoppage time, only for Rocky Bushiri to score for the first time in green and white of Hibs to rescue a point. What an evening at Easter Road. It's finished Hibernian 3, Aberdeen 3.
Hibernian versus Aberdeen in the Scottish Premiership, live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
This week,
brilliant result for Celtic.
Celtic welcome Club Brugge in the UEFA Champions League.
Tomorrow from 6. What a goal from Nicholas Kuhn.
Then on Thursday,
Blair Spittle this time with another belting strike.
Hearts are in Belgium to take on Cercle Bruges from 5.
What a moment in Hearts' season and their Conference League campaign.
And Rangers play Nice in France from 8.
A big night in the Europa League.
Dessers at the edge of the box, sits the defender down, shoots and scores.
European football lives here.
You know that's game on. Listen on your digital radio or by asking your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
There we go, just need to pause for breath there. I'm exhausted just watching that game tonight, chap. 6 goals, 3 of them, Michael, stoppage time.
Unbelievable. I mean, a quite incredible game, and swinging one way and the next, and you're thinking about the dynamics and the ramifications of it for both sides, and just the finish from Esther Sockler, where you think he's won the game late on. Well, first of all, you obviously think that Nicky Cadden's got the equaliser, and Esther Sockler scoring the overhead kick, an unbelievable goal. And it just at that moment felt like stake through the heart for Hibs, and they're going to lose this game. Found some way to lose it, but bundled it over the line, and the fans have obviously reacted. I think they can come off the park there, and the supporters have got a sense and a feeling that actually there is a bit of life about the team. It's not been seen before, but there tonight it has been shown, and they need to produce more of that. But at the same time, there are still some serious issues there that I don't see how you rectify them very quickly, because they have got mistakes galore in that team, and you can't get away with making those mistakes every week and expect that your team's going to score 3 goals to get you out of it.
I'm looking down there, Willie Rocky Bushiri throwing his shirt into the Hibs casuals at the end. They're celebrating this like a like a victory.
Well, I think the way the game went, then you feel as though it is. You know, there would have been a gloom over Easter Road if Aberdeen had managed to win this one. I must say, I thought the draw was a fair enough result. I think both sides played extremely well at times. Both had control of the game at different times as well. The two sensational finishes, just, you know, it sends you home with a spring in your step, irrespective of if you're Aberdeen or if you're Hibs. I think probably the Hibs supporters more than the Aberdeen supporters, because obviously the way it went, they thought that they had managed to actually get the 3 points. A Sokler finish. And, I mean, Shayden Morris, where does this came from? I mean, he is a player that looked as though he was going nowhere for Aberdeen. He wasn't anywhere near the form that we've witnessed this season. And whenever he gets it, you just know that he's going to go by the fullback or the wing back or whoever he's going to be up against. And you know where he's going to go. He's going to go to the byline, but they can do nothing about it. And then the delivery into the box was quite incredible. And the finish, you know, you're like, is Sokler going to be good enough for Aberdeen? He's, you know, bit part he's been playing. If he can reproduce anything close to that finish going forward, then, you know, he is a weapon. But the Chris Cadden, or the Nicky Cadden strike was sensational as well, wasn't it? You know, right in the top corner, perfect strike. So we've been entertained tonight. It's one that I'll always remember, that's for sure.
Quite the second half. Let's bear in mind as well, Michael, that Hibs hit the frame of the goal twice in that second 45.
I know there's that much that happened. You know, you kind of you tend to forget some of those instances as well. But you know, just reiterating what Willie was saying there, I think it comes away for Hibs feeling like, it does feel like it's almost like a win after everything they've been through, staring the defeat in the face yet again to get the ball over the line well deep into injury time and getting that draw. It feels like a victory for them, whereas for Aberdeen you can see the players walking off there and they're sort of shaking their head and they're throwing their arms out, talking amongst each other, obviously despondent, feeling that they had the 3 points in the bag there. And to be fair, they did. I think defensively for the third goal at that point, I mean, I don't know what the actual time was when the Sokler scores, but it must have been about 95 or 96 minutes.
95, I think. I'll just check. I think it was 95.
There must have only been a minute or so left of the game. Just concentration gone. Defensively, no good enough. And for Hibs, if that doesn't galvanise them, then nothing will, because that was a performance that showed a bit of grit and determination. They had plenty slaps in the face there where we've seen them buckle and disappear before, but they kept at it there tonight, and they've managed to get a point from it. And if they don't use that as some sort of springboard, then I don't know what will. Having said all that, and I just mentioned it previously, there are some serious issues in that team in terms of lack of quality and mistakes that are made consistently by a number of people, and I don't know how you get round that until you recruit better in January.
I'll just give you the times of the goals in chronological order. So Hibs went 1-0 up, Newell in the 40th minute. Aberdeen equalised 10 minutes into the second half, McGrath in the 55th. Then they went 2-1 up, Devlin scoring in the 76th minute. Nicky Cadden equalised 92nd minute, or 90 plus 2. Sokler 90 plus 5. And then Bashiri with his first goal for Hibs right at the death, Willie, in 90 plus 6 minutes. It was interesting to see the dynamics of the crowd here. A lot of people were up walking out and then that goal came in.
Well, you don't expect to see the goals raining in at that time, do you? Really? So it is a surprising timing of the goals. And the Bashiri one, take that away, the poor defending, and the fact that, well, don't take it away, because you've got to show the attitude, you've got to show that desire, you've got to show that belief, don't you, that the game isn't over, even although surely you must feel at that time that we're not going to get anything out of this game, on the back of that sensational strike by Sokler. But they didn't give up, they threw everything forward and they got a return for it. So, from, I think that dressing room, the Hibs dressing room, will be pretty buoyant just now. I think, there's issues that have got to be sorted and solved, and Michael's spoken about them in great depth over many weeks. But at the same time, they've shown character, they've shown determination, they've shown an attitude, a never give up attitude to get something from this game. So that'll give David Gray a lot of ammunition, a lot of energy in that dressing room, where he can point out what they're good at. He obviously has to look at what they're bad at as well. But
what would you
concentrate on the good points. And just in finishing, the fans must have, really enjoyed the game tonight. I mean, I certainly did. It was a game that was always interesting. I don't necessarily think it was of a high quality in terms of the passing, but the goals, 2 of them in particular, were quite sensational. And to get, six goals, and at the timing of the goals towards the end of the game, and how it swung from one team to the other, I think you've got to go home. Both sets of fans surely got to go home with a smile on their face, if not too happy, knowing that they saw a game of football.
Certainly got value for money, Willie.
Yes, indeed, value for money. If money's that important to you, but entertainment, David, is what we're all about.
I suppose
we're entertainers.
The bottom line is Aberdeen 2 points behind Celtic at the top of the table, having played a game more. Hibs now level with Hearts on points. Michael, the 2 Edinburgh clubs, the only ones on single figures, but Hibs remain bottom.
Yeah, but everything we've just discussed, there's a performance there that showed a lot of what has been sorely lacking all season long. Challenge now is that they need to just keep replicating and performing like that, and they're not going to come up as good a quality side as Aberdeen every week. There will be other teams where if they can perform to that level, particularly at home, they should have enough about them to be able to pick up 3 points, and if they do that, they're going to inevitably get themselves in a far better position than they are at the moment. But that's the start of what needs to be happening at Hibs here. For Aberdeen, it's another wee sort of bump in the road, but a lot to be happy about in the second half performance.
2 games without a win for the Dons now, Willie.
Yeah, but
back in Edinburgh on Saturday.
It's a disappointing first half again. Jimmy Teelan has got to somehow try to get better first half performances. I think he's pretty good at putting the subs on, and they do have an impact, and they change the game.
Immediate impact on it.
I mean, Morris, if you're watching Shane Morris, seriously, if he can, produce that, not just as a sub, but even as a sub, the impact that he has coming on in games is quite sensational. You would think that other clubs would be looking at him, perhaps. I'm not too sure about his contract situation, because I've never thought it was that important to Aberdeen until this season. But he has changed, so many games where he's come on as an impact substitute. But the first half wasn't good for Aberdeen. I thought Hibs showed, a lot of good stuff in the first half, fell away in the second, but both teams showed a lot of character, a never say die attitude from both sets of players. So in a way, I suppose both managers will be happy with the performance, and perhaps the result as well. I thought it was a fair result. I thought it was an even game. I don't think any of the managers can complain that they should have had the full points, and there's a lot to be pleased about from both David Gray and Jimmy Tillene.
Yeah, Michael, I'm just having a wee look. You mentioned the match stats from Aberdeen's defeat at St Mirren. 78% possession they had tonight. They just edged it, just over 51% possession. 21 shots for Hibs, 15 for Aberdeen. At the end, it was the old. You mentioned it was like a cup tie.
Yeah, there was a period there where the intensity was it shot up from Aberdeen in particular, and they were really going after Hibs, and that's what I'm trying to say. Make the point as well for Hibs. They need to perform to that level every week, because they're not always going to be coming up against the side with that intensity and that danger that Aberdeen possess when they're really at it and going forward. And on the whole, Hibs were I think Willie Spaulding and Hibs were worthy of getting a point out of this game. It's there's mistakes on both sides. I mean, none more so than obviously Jordan Smith with the second goal for Aberdeen, but Aberdeen didn't defend the last goal, the equaliser, particularly well either. So across the game as a whole, very entertaining, lots in it to get the fans on the edge of their seat for both supporters, and a point was worthy for the two teams here, I think.
The Jordan Smith error didn't prove to be result defining, Willie.
Well, you could say that, but then again, it was, because if he hadn't made that mistake, then Aberdeen wouldn't have scored. So, and you don't know how the game would have went after that. But listen, both goalkeepers looked, suspect with cross balls tonight.
Is that something you've noticed in Mitov before?
No, not really. So, once or twice, and during the first half of the season, he's flapped at it, but he's and you've watched him on a number of occasions, even in this game, coming and taking it and judging the flight of the ball. I think both of them get caught up. They get a little bit anxious when there's players round about them, and they make the decision to go when the decision isn't really there, instead of just concentrating on the flight of the ball, making sure that they're getting their hands on the flight of the ball. So I thought both goalkeepers were suspect, but obviously Jordan Smith, the error he made, because it was weak, wasn't it? He got a fist on it, but it's a weak fist. It's not really. But when you're coming out, you need to make sure that you're taking everything with you, and if there's a body in front of you, you're taking that body as well, even if it's your own player, and you're making sure that you're clearing that ball. But hey, Mick, Nicky Devlin, he showed great calmness, didn't he? He showed composure and just clipping it over, because there was at least one Hibs player in the goal line, and he managed to get it over the goalkeeper and that Hibs player to see it nestle on the back of the net.
Well, I think I mentioned before the match that 45% of goals conceded by Hibs were lost in the last 15 minutes. Tonight, 66% of them were lost in the last 15 minutes. And I suppose one of the questions we posed at the beginning of the game at half-time was, could Hibs hold on to their lead? Yet again, they've proven that they can, but the circumstances tonight, very different.
Yeah, very different. I mean, look, obviously at half-time we're talking about keep a clean sheet and you win the game. That second half has been taking on such a different dynamic. The way it's swung one way than the next, it finishes off with a feeling for Hibs of positivity. It's certainly my initial reaction there. There's a degree of positivity for Hibs. In their position, they've got to cling on to any positivity they can, especially internally. At times when there's a lot of noise outside, a lot of negativity, sometimes you get a feeling of, when you're out with and you're hearing the manager of the players consistently try to talk up the positives when it's been blatantly, poor. Today, I think, and tonight, there's something there for them genuinely, along with the supporters, to look at and point towards and say, that was positive. There's something there to build upon. The key is, next game, Motherwell away, they've got to front up and perform again. In Hibs' position, obviously they need points. They need to get wins. But even if they lose a game, they need to show a performance like that. And losing the game's no great, not in the position they're in at all. But if the fans can see performances like that, then they'll feel like wins are going to come. Up until tonight, I've not seen a performance like that from Hibs previously.
It gives the fans a bit of belief, doesn't it? It allows the fans, some time just to settle down and stop thinking about how poor their side is, and it has been a poor season for them. And it gives them hope as well. They see that performance, they see that energy, that grit, that determination. It's hugely important. Yeah, the football is important. You want to see nice football, you want to see sensational goals, but you want to see the other side of it as well. And I think that's what that, along with other things, have been missing for Hibs this season. So I think it gives it a little bit of respite, and that's what David Gray and this team needed. Hibs needed a bit of respite. If Aberdeen had won the game, then I don't know what would have happened. You're looking at it and you're saying, well, is are the directors going to stick with the manager, or are they going to twist and move him on? Because you can have these statements coming for the board. They mean nothing. They absolutely mean nothing. That you're going to stick with the manager and you give them a vote of confidence. What they have to do is stay quiet and give them as much support as they possibly can. But when things are looking, as bad as they have been looking for Hibs, that pressure is going to, and you need something. You need something to give the directors, the fans, a little bit of respite and a little bit of hope. The manager's got that as well. He can come out tonight and he can praise his players for never giving up and having a good performance. And I think Jimmy Tilleen can do the same as well. I think Aberdeen, poor in the first half, but much better in the second half. So I think both managers can be positive about tonight's game, although not be happy with it because they both had the victory in their grasp.
You say Hibs looking for a bit of respite. They got one game a week for a wee while, and then the festive fixtures begin to kick in, and it's a busy schedule for all the teams. Before the festive fixtures kick in, Hibs are away to Motherwell, then away to Celtic, haven't won on the road yet, then they're home to Ross County, then they're away to Aberdeen and Hearts. That's the Hearts away game on Boxing Day. It's a hectic schedule, and Willie's right, as he so often is, always is, Mikey, that they really had to get something tonight.
I mean, yes, definitely. And it gives a little bit of hope and belief to the players, the fans, everyone connected to the club. But the weekend quickly comes round and it needs to be there again. And I'm telling you, the manager has got a monumental decision to make.
Yeah.
Who does he put in goals? I mean, honestly. And by the way, there's no right or wrong answer here, because neither of them are going to be filling you full of confidence. And this is the fundamental flaw in it all, and this is where I've had a lot of sympathy for David Gray to a great extent in it all. There's a lot of players there, they're not good enough, plain and simple. And Willie will tell you, if you're going to have, and we're talking about success here, and success for Hibs now is just avoiding, the relegation. But if you're going to have any sort of success as a team, you need to build a strong backline. You need a spine to build from. And Hibs, for a number of years, have not been good enough defensively. They've had a keeper in David Marshall for a number of years, obviously coming towards the end of his career, but a good keeper. But at the latter stages of his career, Hibs need to get a goalkeeper and two centre-halves pronto if they're going to have any hope of getting up the table. And at the moment, they don't have that. And until they have that, they need to just fight, scrape, bundle the ball over the line. They need to just do anything to try to get points, which with points buys them a wee bit of time to get through, and then they need to recruit properly, because there's only so much you can do with some of these players that aren't to the level that's required. So sorry to interrupt you again, but see, this is what infuriates me with some people that are involved in recruitment. Talking to John McGinn yesterday, right? If you look back at his team, that when he came to the Hibs, when they were relegated and they were in the Championship, and you look at the season previously when they got relegated, and this is like warped and illogical thinking. And I think everybody, if you look at those two squads between the two seasons, the squad they had when they got relegated and then the squad they had in the Championship, it was night and day. The squad that they had in the Championship, and this was over, one or two transfer windows, was far superior. And a lot of them were Scottish players, guys that knew the league, and they were young and they were hungry. Hibs, in this last 4 or 5 years, have gone so off tangent and brought in players from all over the place, and invariably they're no good enough. There are domestic players here that would walk into that Hibs team and make them infinitely better, and they need to find their identity again, and that comes down to proper recruitment.
That's not going to happen in one transfer window, is it?
No.
You're talking long term there, Michael.
Yes. Yes and no. It needs to start in one window.
It's where they turn to make these decisions as well. I mean, you know, the decisions have been made in the past about these players coming in that hasn't been good enough. So you've got to have a huge change in the decision-making process and how they actually go about identifying players and getting the right sort of players in. I was asked a question maybe about 3 weeks ago, are Hibs in a relegation battle? They are in a relegation battle. I mean, it's plain for everybody to see. And what they've got to do, as Michael says there, is try to build on this point. It is only a point, but there's a lot of good aspects in the game, but some bad aspects as well. But concentrate on that and try to build on it to get yourself slowly out of the relegation trouble that they're in.
Have you seen enough tonight to suggest that with this group of players as it stands, there's enough there to get them out of that relegation dogfight?
I haven't seen enough of them in the flesh, and I think it's always important to see them, live, to understand their body language and what is actually going wrong. You can watch it on the telly, you can see some of the issues that they've got, but at the same time it's better if you see them live. Tonight it looks as though there's something there to work with. Yeah, I'm not going to say that they're going to shoot up the table, because watching them tonight, I don't think that they're much better than the teams round about them. In fact, I don't think Aberdeen were at their best tonight either, and they would have to improve. But I think it will give David Gray something to work with. This performance, this result, this attitude, this approach, it would give him something to work with in the dressing room and the training field, and it would give the Hibs fan, and the good thing, I suppose, from a Hibs point of view, is that Hearts are down there with them as well. So that does help, believe it or not. If Hearts were up where Aberdeen was, and you can imagine what the mood would be if you're a Hibs fan. So although that's a negative aspect in the game, I think there was enough positive aspects for David Gray to work on, over the coming weeks. But there's still room for huge improvements. And as Michael says, if they're going out into the transfer window, which we think they would have to do when it opens, to bring fresh blood in, then they'll have to try and get it right.
Aberdeen, Willie, that's them away from home now. They've played 6 games, won 3 of them, drawn 2, lost 1. Are you happy with that?
Oh, I'm delighted with the season. For goodness sake, David, have you not listened to me over the last 4 or 5 years and seasons, and the depression at times that I had to go through, watching, what was inadequate performances. No, it's been good this season, and Jimmy Talleen, still work to do, and I've said that even during the good run that they've had, and rubbing shoulders with Celtic at the top of the table as well. There's been performances like tonight where a lot, it hasn't been good, but there has been an awful lot that they've managed to somehow get results and get wins, and it looked very much like that's what they were going to do tonight. The quality's not always been at the highest level, but the results have been very good.
Yeah, Michael wasn't particularly happy with Aberdeen's game management towards the end. Willie, you would concur with that?
I wouldn't dare try to speak on Michael's behalf, so I'll let Michael answer that one.
It just felt in the game, obviously before Nicky Cadden had stepped up with the first equaliser in injury time, it just felt like the game was still edgy. It didn't feel like it was comfortable for Aberdeen to see the game out. It still felt like there was something in it, and obviously so it proved. And then up the other end with Aberdeen to get the winner, no the winner, back with another equaliser. It's still, the game just felt like it was still open and chances were there, and there was just, sometimes that can just be the dynamic of the game, and to a certain extent it was, but I just felt like Aberdeen, they didn't really see the game out and didn't control it well enough. Even at 2-1, they're 90 plus minutes, and it just felt there was aspects where they were still turning the ball over a little bit too easily. They've got blistering pace from Morris, and it's not like you're trying to attack, but sometimes if you're under that little bit of pressure, just look for that out ball, get into the corner, kill a bit of time, take a bit of heat off. Still felt like it was a bit too open and expansive for Hibs to try and get at them, and I just thought they could have managed it a wee bit better. But I mean, look, ultimately it was from a neutral's perspective, it was a very, very entertaining game. Lots in it, loads of goals, loads of quality, and a few mistakes as well to shake your head at.
Tell you what, guys, I'll give you a wee break for a minute or two while I run through tonight's Champions League action. Lots of excitement, lots of goals there as well. And the start off with Slovan Bratislava 2, AC Milan 3, Sparta Prague 0, Atletico Madrid 6, Barcelona 3, Brest 0, Leverkusen 5, RB Salzburg 0, Bayern Munich 1, PSG 0, Inter Milan 1, Leipzig 0, Man City 3, Feyenoord 3, Sporting Lisbon 1, Arsenal 5, and Young Boys 1, Atalanta 6. Celtic will play Young Boys late in the campaign. They've already played Atalanta, finished 0-0. Celtic in action tomorrow at home to Bruges. It looks, Michael, as if a win might be enough. Club Bruges, a win for Celtic over them might be enough to get them in a playoff.
Well, I mean, certainly all the Scottish teams at the moment are in a pretty good position in the league stage to look towards the games that are still to come. They look like they're in a very, very good place to be able to get out of the league group stage, and obviously for the coefficient that's fantastic as well. Celtic have been outstanding. They've got a couple of games coming up here that you would on paper look at and say would cement their position. I mean, Celtic are now in that sort of level in the league where they could be looking at potentially forgetting about the playoff. They could be jumping straight into the next knockout stage in the Champions League if they pick up a couple of wins in the next few games.
You fancy them for a place in the straight into the knockout round, Willie?
Well, Celtic
7 points from 4.
Celtic are a very good side. We all know that. In Europe, it's a different challenge, isn't it? But they've got the quality there, and they've had the results so far. So no, it's looking good, as Michael said, for the coefficient and the teams that we still have in Europe. They're all in a very good position. So probably Celtic, I would say, the best opportunity to qualify. But at the same time, I think getting the coefficient up is important. We all know that. And let's hope that the teams we have left in Europe do extremely well.
Yeah, tomorrow night Sports Sound's on here at 6 with all the build-up and commentary from Celtic's match against Club Bruges in the Champions League. Then on Thursday, it's European football again with Cercle Bruges versus Hearts. That kicks off at 5:45, and then Nice against Rangers, the latter in Europa League. Cercle Bruges versus Hearts in the Europa Conference League. News from Hearts today, Michael, that Shelley Kerr has been appointed technical development manager at Hearts with responsibility for that transitional phase from youth football to the first team. She's got plenty of experience. A good appointment.
Well, I mean, certainly the role itself, it's a wonderful title, but if it's to navigate getting younger players into the first team, then I'm all for it. I think that the biggest thing for me is, forgetting, creating a role like that. You need a manager that's willing and wanting to put players into the first team. They need to have the vision and the foresight to say, right, we've got X, Y or Z young player coming in. I need to create that space. We're not going to recruit in that position because we need that space for the young players to come through. So you can have somebody in a role of creating a pathway. There's lots of lovely, jargon that can get thrown about. It ultimately comes down to a manager opening up the space for the young boys to be used and given the opportunity, and for the young boys being ready and capable of taking that opportunity. But on the face of it, Shelley Kerr's obviously got a lot of experience in women's football. Now she's stepping into Hearts in this capacity. It's certainly a big opportunity for her.
It's a conversation that the manager and the board of directors have to have, isn't it? I think it's fine to say the manager's got to open up the space for young players. But the club have got to have that in their DNA. That, you know, the directors have got to actually be saying to the manager when he's appointed that this is how we're going to develop our own players, and we need them in the first team.
Thanks for that, Willie. Sorry, Mike, I'm just going to head down pitch side because sorry to interrupt because Brian has grabbed Jimmy Tillene, the Aberdeen manager.
Jimmy, that was an extraordinary game of football. How was it for you in the dugout? You must have thought you'd won it, you'd lost it, and ended up with a point.
Yeah, it was like a really roller coaster, emotional game. A lot of chances for both teams. It was not really controlled in some parts, but still the positive thing was the team spirit and the players who bring in the qualities on the pitch in the second half, and they make a huge impact with the assists and goals, and also how they fight for each other. That's the good thing for the game today, that we could come back from one down in a away game, and we struggled at some parts of the game, but still find a way. We almost succeeded to take the 3 points. The feeling we had direct after the game, we talk about it in the dressing room, like we make a collective mistake. We have to mature, be ready for this part. The game is not over until it's over, and we had to be much more compact in the last. They pick up, I don't know, so many second balls when they score the last goal. That was tough learning for everyone, but that's football, and we have to learn from that and move on.
What did you say to your players at half time? Because there was certainly more spirit about them, more pace about the team in the second period.
But I think like we are on a journey together now, and to learn to cope with the intensity of the games and be ready and be more focused on some parts, and try to trust the belief we have and the trust identity we have, and we can bring out the best of our players. We have to be more up to running in the first halves. Like sometimes we are a little bit have to be under pressure to bring out the most quality. We have to find a better way to start the game in a better approach.
The introduction of Shayden Morris 10 minutes into the second half, it was an immediate impact as well. Was that an area of Hibernian that you'd identified could be an area you could exploit?
First of all, Shayden has been good. He has made a really nice progress the whole season. He's growing every time, and he can do it, stretch it longer and longer time now. He has the 1-against-1 quality, and the crosses is top level. And he played, I don't remember, 60 minutes on Saturday, so he's a really explosive player. So we want also to see that he can stay fresh game by game. So his performance has been good. We know that, and we can find this situation 1-against-1 with him. We know he's really dangerous and can help us in a lot of different areas with the crosses.
What was going through your head when Hibs had that free kick with just, I think it was only 20 seconds left to go?
But we have to stay focused, and it's an important situation. But there was so much emotion in the game today, so sometimes this can happen. It's not nice when it happens, but it's a tough learning, and we have to grow from that. You have to. That's the football, and this situation is important. So we're going to learn from this, and we can mature as a team. And next time it happens, we're going to be much more compact and more clear in these situations.
So you head back to Aberdeen with a point. You come back to Edinburgh again on Sunday for your first visit to Tynecastle. What do you expect there?
I haven't think about that yet. I mean, I need to focus on this game first. But we're looking forward to more games, and but now we have to go back and load and prepare for that game.
Thanks, Jimmy. Enjoy your time back home.
Thank you so much.
That was Brian McLaughlin speaking to Aberdeen manager Jimmy Tillene after the side picked up a point here at Easter Road against Hibernian. 3-3 finished. That was a nice wee exposition there about your man Shayden Morris there, Willie.
Well, Brian's got to learn something. Don't ask Jimmy about the game before this game, and certainly don't ask him about the game after the game that you're talking about, because he's not going to talk about it, is he? That's his style. But
he doesn't give much away. But what he
doesn't.
Did give away was he was talking about Shayden Morris, his qualities, his capabilities, and how he uses them.
His impact's been unbelievable coming off the bench this season, and the pace that he's got and the directness that he's shown, which it didn't show last season. He's always had that pace, but it's not been as direct. I think that there has just been some leadership from Jimmy Tillene And the advice is, when you get the ball and you get stood up 1v1, you go to that byline. And that's all he does. It's dead simple, and it's so effective. He throws them on half-time or just after half-time. With that instruction, get up against 1v1, up against the fullback, hit the byline, put the cross into the box. And if you can pick out a player, then please do that as well. And he's been sensational. He's been, I would say, the defence have been very good. Maybe not tonight, but the defence have been very good. But Morris, for me, the outfield player, Jamie McGrath's been excellent, but Shayden Morris coming off the bench, he's made such a difference to the Aberdeen team, and he's turned round, he's turned games round, he's turned games that were either going to be lost or drawn into victories.
Secret is keep it simple, by the sounds of things.
Yes, absolutely. I think, Willie was a good point that the defence has been very good. I think Nicky Devlin going off has probably, in that last moment, cost them, because I think his experience, would have just plugged the gap, recognised the danger. Having said that, there's many moments in this game that you could say if, but, and maybe. It's ended up being a wonderful game, 3-3, as we spoke about. Plenty of mistakes that we can talk about, but plenty of moments of real quality as well.
Yeah, we'll look at the table at the top there. Celtic 34 points, played 12 games. Aberdeen 32, 9 ahead of Rangers on 23. At the foot of the table, Hearts 9 points, Hibernian 9 points, Hearts -9, Hibernian -10. And on that subject, we can now head back to the pitch side where Brian McLaughlin is speaking to Hibernian manager David Gray.
David, how do you start to analyse that just incredible 98 minutes of football?
I think it's a bit of a roller coaster, especially second half. One thing I would say is we've been in this position before when you only get a point from the game, but when you go and score right at the very end, some of the boys, you feel that the energy in the dressing room at the moment, where we've actually been on the other side to that, you only get a point for it. But one thing I would say is, and what I've just commended the players for there, is there's a lot of questions being asked about the character of the group, and twice we've came back from behind tonight, right to the very end, and managed to rescue a point. And to be fair though, in a game which I firmly believe we deserve to win, we know again we've let ourselves down in certain areas tonight, but the attitude, the desire, the commitment, the togetherness within the dressing room tonight was clear for everyone to see, and I think the performance level was there as well.
Cracking goals as well, obviously. Nicky Cadden's being the pick of the bunch, you would say, but Rocky Bashiri, probably the most unlikeliest hero tonight for Hibs in rescuing a point. Yeah, delighted for Rocky. I mentioned him after the game, the Dundee game. He's someone who hasn't played anywhere near the minutes he would like. But credit to him as a professional for how he trains every single day. He's not missed a session. He goes away on national duty, fully committed to being the best professional he can, and I'm delighted for him because he fully deserves everything he put in for that. There's been issues this season, obviously, at the back with defensive frailties. They were there again tonight. What was your take on the defence's performance? At times I thought we were good. At the same time, you need to respect the opponent. I thought at times, Aberdeen are very much a threat on the break. I think when they made their changes as well, bringing Morris on, he's got real pace. We've also got players maybe starting to tire towards the end of the game. They haven't had as much minutes in their legs as well. So I think all in all, defensively, we know we still need to improve. That's a sort of slight different change of shape as well. Players that haven't played as much together, but I've seen a lot of positive things as well when you see it, when you look at them as an individual. So a lot of positives to take from it, but at the same time, it's only a point from a game where I believe we should have got 3, but it's something we can then build on now. We look quickly towards Motherwell and hopefully we can try and get 3 at the weekend. Difficult night for the goalkeeper though, was it? It will be in reflection, because everyone will remember the one he comes for and doesn't get on the end of. I think he also made some big saves within the game as well. So from that point of view, one thing I would say again, though, just to reiterate, is we've been punished in recent weeks for mistakes, for errors, and never managed to get back into the game. But the big thing I want to take away from the night and make sure the players believe it and keep believing it, which is the togetherness and the attitude to go right to the end, when the character has been definitely questioned in recent weeks. The fans behind the goal certainly showed their displeasure at the board at the moment, but they stuck with the team throughout tonight, didn't they? 100%. I think you've seen that right to the very end. Listen, I've said numerous times it's my responsibility to change this, and I fully understand the frustrations for the crowd, for the noise, for the outside, purely because of where we find ourselves.
But like you've just said there, the crowd were with us right to the very end, and we're going to need them to be there. They were fantastic tonight, staying right to the end, getting us over the line in every game we've got moving forward. When you're in a position we're in, we're all in it together, and we really need to stick together and really need them behind us to make sure they drive us over the line, because they play such a big part, and you've seen that at the end of the game.
Does it still feel like a win? In some way?
I think we need to be positive, of course, because of the way the game finished. As I've already said, we've been on the receiving end of this too many times. So from that point of view, it's certainly something to build on, and we need to be positive because of the amount of effort and commitment that everyone's putting into it at the moment. And if we can keep delivering performance levels like that, tidy up in the areas which we know, I know we'll turn this around quickly.
And Motherwell, of course, on Saturday is your next opportunity to do so.
It is. It'll be a real difficult game, though. You know, they're a team that have started the season really well. It'll be a real difficult test. They're very well coached. You know, they're very well organised. So 3 games in a week, we need to recover quickly. The boys, especially playing with 10 men, a lot of minutes into legs there. So we need to recover quickly. The boys need to be ready to step up and all stick together again.
Finally, sleep better tonight?
Probably not, but we'll keep going again.
Thanks, David. Well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
That's Brian McLaughlin speaking to David Gray, the Hibs manager, after tonight's match at Easter Road. Michael, something to build on, David Gray says.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I completely understand everything he said there, and I think he's spot on. He needs to focus on the positives. And privately, he's fully aware, obviously, of the things that need to get brushed up on. Definitely a lot better for Hibs there. And yes, he's right, the character has been questioned, and rightly so, because it's not been good enough. But he was also spot on to point out that they showed a bit there tonight. So that's what he's got to emphasise and focus on, and try to, you know, make sure that is replicated on the weekend against Motherwell. Massive game, because if they can replicate the performance, then it starts to feel like, yes, things might slowly be beginning to shift and turn. If they turn up at Fir Park and the performance is back to what we've seen before, then you get a sense of it's a bit of a flash in the pan. So the important thing for them is that they follow up what they've just done there tonight.
So it's Motherwell for Hibs on Saturday. For Aberdeen, Willie, it's Hearts, another away game.
Yeah, another tough away game. You know, and Aberdeen got to be better over the 90 minutes, and you know, in my opinion, I think there's too many, you know, patchy performances. You know, one half not so good, the other half, you know, extremely good. And it looked again as though they were going to find a way to win it tonight as well, but they fell a little bit short. I think Jimmy Tilleen knows that there are frailties there. There are times where the team are not performing at the level that he wants. But as he said, we're on a journey. Let's enjoy the journey.
Thanks very much, Willie. We're on a journey here. It'll be back through to Paisley from me for Easter Road along the M8. We'll leave it here at Easter Road for the evening. Thanks to Willie Miller, Michael Stewart, Paul Mitchell, Brian McLaughlin and myself, David Cunny. Most of all, folks, to you for listening. Remember, European Sports Sound tomorrow, Celtic versus Club Brugge in the Champions League. Show's on air at 6 o'clock, kick-off 7:45. But from all of us at Easter Road, good night. Now, listeners, we are joining Roddy Hart on Radio Scotland FM.